Spoilers of the Damned.
Hello and welcome to Spoilers of the Damned, episode number 23. Today we will be talking about Pit and the Pendulum. I always thought it was the Pit and the Pendulum, but I guess it is just Pit and the Pendulum.
No, there's only one pit.
Yeah, there's only one pit, so it should be the Pit, right?
I guess so. I guess it's just understood. Pit is that. That is Pit. Or maybe it's someone's name.
I thought Pit was a person because
Yeah.
I haven't read the synopsis.
Well, the poster says the Pit and the Pendulum.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, you
but
just
everywhere
list,
else, I've been
do you
seeing
really
Pit
believe
and the
everything
Pendulum
that you
with no
read,
doubt.
honestly?
On an official poster, I mean, Jesus.
Well, anyway, we will be spoiling both The Pit and the Pendulum and Pit and the Pendulum. The 1961 version, I guess technically there's spoilers for the plot of the short story as well, but we'll get into that. And yeah, this movie is, I don't know, 50 years old, so spoiler warnings, I guess.
Quite old. It's quite
I
old.
guess.
it's nearly 60 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go then. So,
Quite
yeah,
old.
before we get into that, though, gentlemen, how have you been?
Good.
Pretty good. I guess
Excellent.
It's time
Cool.
to waffle.
Okay, movie. On to the movie.
It's be a short cast.
Well, anyway, see you next week.
But I really wanted to mention something because I don't really know if it's real or not. I know my dream or my nightmare that I'm going to talk about wasn't real, but I'm just saying, like, it seems like this should be a thing that is real. But I'll get into it. This morning I woke up, had a nightmare, and I woke up and I was like, oh, good, it was just a nightmare, one of those things. But the nightmare I had was. I was me and one of my dogs, which didn't look like any of my dogs, but one of them, you know how it is, like when you see something, you know, like that is my brother, but it doesn't look like anything like your brother in your dreams or something like that.
Yeah.
Weird dream logic.
Yeah, and this dog was far larger than either of my two dogs, but it was definitely my dog. We were buddies. And I was driving at night, and then I went to a friend's house. And I got out of my car, and me and my dog, we were riding in the car together. When it's pretty fucking cute. We went to my friend's house, but he wasn't home. So I don't know why I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go on in. You know, this is my house now too. And I sat down in like one of his rooms, and there was a PS2, a PlayStation 2, and a new game that I've never seen before. It was in a big box. It had 6 like dolls, kind of like pop vinyl figures, you know. And there was, of course, the game. So I put the game in, and the game was a Japanese horror title. And, you know, stop me if you've heard this one before, but it starts in a high school.
Okay.
It starts in a high school, and the point of the game is that you know as the player that someone in that high school is possessed by a ghost, like a murderous Japanese horror ghost, the kind you've seen before, but you don't know who it is. It could be anyone. So it's kind of like the movie The Thing, but with, you know, J-horror twist, high school, and all that kind of stuff. The other thing is that the game makes somebody else the monster every time you play it.
Oh, cool. So it's not just like one solution.
Yeah.
You can play it over and over again.
Exactly. Yeah. And of course, the point of the game isn't just to find the monster, but also deal with the monster, but also retaining your reputation in society, as in not being a crazy person who burned somebody alive, for example. you would end up having to trap the thing itself, destroy it, and like come out scot-free from the murder. Like, that's the whole objective of the game. And I thought that was really cool. But I didn't have time to play the game for a long period of time because it's a nightmare. And I wasn't trying to, like, you know, I wasn't going to be like, I'm going to spend like 30 hours here playing this game at my friend's house. So I was just playing it, and I was intentionally dying just to see kind of like all the shortwave experiences, like all the deaths you could possibly experience, or how the dialogue trees change if it's somebody else and that kind of stuff. And I thought it was really cool. And then I started thinking no, I'm not thinking, but like as I was like completing the game, I was like removing the dolls from the box and throwing them away, because I was like, okay, that bitch is dead, so I threw that one away, and then this bitch is dead, and then I threw that away, and then I started realizing, like, I'm throwing away all these dolls. That's a bad thing, right? Because I'm starting to like equate reality in this video game. And wait a second, it's the middle of the night. Am I even in a friend's house right now? Where the hell am I? My dog is like staring down the hallway at something, and I'm like, oh no, this is like like a legit creepypasta situation, and I'm trying to get the fuck out of here. And it was drowned. Yeah, exactly. You know, like the creepypasta video game scenario was happening to me in real life, and I was no longer able to discern that I was in a dream. So it started to become a nightmare. Like, I gotta go. I think it's already too late. Like the ring situation, like this grudge monster is gonna come out of things and get me, and then that's of course when I woke up. But when I woke up, I was thinking that should be a real game though, because that would be kind of awesome, like a twist on the whole visual novel bullshit, but an actual video game of plot and deduction and solutions and puzzle solving that's different every new game you start. I thought that'd be really cool. So I kind of felt like I wanted to say it out loud at least, and maybe it already exists. If it doesn't, somebody should make that shit.
Well, the first thing you reminded me of, is just have you heard of a game called Yandere Simulator?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
What you described is kind of like Yandere Simulator, but better.
Yeah, because I think I know what a yandere is, and that's nothing like what I was talking about.
Yeah, but the game that this guy's trying to make, I think he's kind of, I don't know if he kickstarted it or if he's just on YouTube trying to support his kind of like development by making videos. But basically, it's a school full of pupils, and it's populated by kind of like random almost, and you have to kind of meet people, work out their likes, dislikes, and then kill people who are your love rivals. So that's where it differs from your thing.
Oh, okay.
But the whole way you were describing it to begin with, I was just like, whoa, that's like Yandere Simulator, but better.
Yeah, because like when you discover the ghost, like she makes it known, or he makes it known, whichever, and like the visual effect in my nightmare was like the skin starts to break apart and they get up in your face, and it's instantaneous. It's not like a slow like I'm a scary ghost. It's just like da ghost, and it's like oh shit, fuck, I didn't. Oh god damn it. So it's like all up in your face and scary as fuck. And even if you had played the game 100 times, probably it would still like jump scare the shit out of you, because you don't know which one it is unless you just memorized all the dialogue trees you could possibly have gone through to get to that point. I was just like, man, that'd be kind of cool. Like, that's something that hasn't been made before. I don't have the skill to make it, so I'll air it out on the internet. Maybe someone will make it.
That sounds quite cool, actually.
Yeah.
I'd play that.
Yeah.
It sounds almost like roguelike.
Yeah, kind of like
It's
that.
different every time you play it.
Yeah.
Was it actual PS2 graphics, or was it just PS2 because it's like cute, iconic little console?
Yeah, I think it might be because it's the best. I think it might have been that it's just PS2 graphics, but when you're talking about anime, PS2 graphics could really be on any console besides the PS1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even the Dreamcast looks like a PS2 game when they're just doing anime simple graphics and models and stuff, so... In my opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe the fidelity is just not clear to my poor eyes. I don't know, but
So what would you call your? Because we're spitballing here, right? How we come up with great ideas. Well, you come up with great ideas, and we just kind of like come up with shitty taglines.
I mean, I guess that's true. The last two ideas we come up with, I kind of threw out there, and we built on it. I'll take the credit. Thank you very much. I don't have a name for it, though. It was not... I mean, it would be in Japanese anyway if it's in that setting, but it doesn't have to be the high school Japanese setting. It could be anywhere else. I mean, why not? It could be like in an American high school, or it could be at like an office complex, like some sort of cubicle farm where like people come and go all the time and you don't even recognize them because it was their first day on the job and they fucking hated it, so they left. That kind of thing. You could really put it anywhere. It works best in Antarctica, though, like in the movie The Thing. But, it could it could conceivably be anywhere. I just think it'd be like a really cool horror title, though.
No, I agree. That does sound like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the game Calling for Wii?
Culling?
That's Calling.
Calling?
Calling.
I wasn't sure if your accent muddled that up or not, so I wanted to be clear. No, I haven't.
Oh, well, that's also kind of similar in the fact that it's not you have to investigate who's a ghost, but you're in high school and there is a ghost, and it does kind of come up and get in your face. All up in your grill, kind of spooky.
Yeah.
Spooky.
Oh yeah, it looks like it's heavily inspired by The Grudge.
Yeah, the main conceit of the game is that the Wiimote is kind of like a phone, so it's got the little speaker on it. It will make like ringing noises, and you answer it, and then stuff goes boo blah, 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 on screen to like freak you out.
Oh wow!
Excuse me, I'm on a call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking to
off,
my
ghost.
mother. Yeah, see, like something like that. I mean, because like the Five Nights at Freddy thing was very popular for really like little reason, except for its atmosphere and the jump scares and stuff. They could expound on that, make it a more deep game, and like what if the character you start off with also has like a love interest, and that's a possibility, like one of the ghosts could be the love interest, but like you inherently play the game and you like I'm just gonna hang out with my love interest because I'm pretty sure she's safe, she's part of the story, so she can't, oh god, it's a ghost. And that turns out to be it, and then you play it again like, oh, that bitch was a ghost, I'm gonna like fucking burn her right away, and it turns out now you're a murderer because you burnt an innocent person alive and you were supposed to find the actual ghost. That kind of a thing where you're just never sure until you're absolutely sure. But the journey and investigation would be harrowing because you just don't know until you really know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you'd have to try desperately not to bring your past grudges against the characters from a previous playthrough as well. It's like, last time you were a bitch to me, like, but I need to remember it's different.
Yeah, kind of like how Shenmue was, where they had like the people placed everywhere and they're all doing their own thing on their own time. Have either of you played Shenmue on the Dreamcast?
Oh, I've played Shenmue 2, yeah, but
okay, kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Yakuza sort of follows the same kind of design where you just have a bunch of people, or Stardew Valley also, they have a bunch of people that just move on their own schedule and do their own things. So it's like you'd kind of be able to start planning things out after a while, but like you'd have to start noticing the differences as you play with their schedule, because you'd like, okay, I remember like Motoko was over here at 5 p.m. but now she's not. I wonder what she's doing, and that'd be part of the gameplay. And I think that would be kind of interesting for people. Kind of like
I love that kind of game. It's like Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
With the whole kind of schedule and the fact it's on a certain amount of days, so everyone is going to be in a certain place at a certain time.
Yeah.
And I was going to say something else really good then that it reminded me of.
We'll wait.
It was to do with cycles and working out where people are. So, of course, it was Harvest Moon on the PlayStation. Back to Nature specifically was the one that I fell in love with, and that also had a kind of a thing where people would be in certain places at certain times and you had to kind of work out where they were. So you could kind of like find your girlfriend that you wanted to date and stock up with like a bag full of the things she likes and just like keep giving them to her because she's going to be like nearby,
just like real life.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always liked that because it makes the game world feel more alive. It feels like the characters are actually doing something other than just like, I don't know, like Fallout or Skyrim or something where those characters just stay in that location all the bloody time and they don't move because they're waiting for you.
Yeah, you're the star of the show. It's your world after all.
Exactly, yeah. But it makes them feel, because you have to like plan around it, and then it feels like the world's alive. It feels like these characters are alive. They have shit to do. You're not.
I can't believe I didn't. I can't believe I didn't say it, but also Gregory Horror Show is basically built around this entire idea.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So I'm really determined to start speedrunning it within the next month. I'm going to start speedrunning it on streams.
Interesting.
I've decided. Yeah. Because there is only one guy, my arch nemesis, I've never spoken to. I think he's called like Squidward Speedruns or Speedwood. I can't remember what he's called. It's some god awful SpongeBob abomination kind of amalgamation. But basically, he speedruns like a couple of weird obscure games. Like I think he's got one for. He might have one for Glass Rose on PS2. Like basically like really obscure horror games, and he's done one for Gregory Horror Show. And as far as I'm aware, he's either the only person who's done it, or he's at the very least he's the world record holder. So I've got to beat him. I've got to beat my nemesis, Speedword.
Your nemesis is just happily speedrunning Gregory Horror Show without knowledge of you at all. So you're in a perfect position.
Who the fuck is this guy behind me talking shit?
So everyone listening, go to his channel and just send him loads of abuse. It'll be great.
Loads of abuse.
So what the hell, man?
Tell him I'm coming for his title and come like speedrun SummerSlam 2018. I'm gonna be.
People just mention going, "Fuck you, man! Tom's awesome." He's like, "Fuck Tom."
Yeah, just Tom, not dark gazing. Just Tom.
I want him to know me as my nemesis before I even begin speedrunning the game.
Yeah. What could happen instead, of course, is that you could communicate with him and maybe share like tactics and stuff and like speedrun together. You don't have to make him your enemy. You know?
Nah, fuck this.
That's
It's
true.
YouTube
But
and needs
it's
drama.
kind of, yeah, exactly. YouTube thrives on drama.
Society thrives on drama. YouTube is an
that's
outlet,
true.
unfortunately. I'm actually kind of glad, like, I don't go into like the deep end of YouTube with my stuff anymore. Like I'd originally planned to do, like, I'm gonna make videos and be a guy. I'm just so much happier not doing that because, like, I just played Bayonetta 2 and finished it, and I didn't feel like I had to pressure myself to finish anything else, like for YouTube or whatever. And it's just nice. It's nice to not have that pressure. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, yeah, please speedrun. That's great. I still want to speedrun Mega Man X at some point, and like I've like targeted people who speedrun Mega Man X, and I would love to meet them and be like, yeah, we do the same things together. Isn't that cool?
But I'm better.
Yeah, I'm better looking and I'm
Yourself a
younger.
Nemesis, Chris.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was my horror contribution for the podcast today. I think it's a really cool game idea that I'll never make.
But we must copyright it so it can never be made by anybody else.
Ever. Like, I'll just hold on to the copyright, never make the game. The world will never be enriched by this idea. I'll just hold on to it selfishly. It's mine. It's mine.
You could do that, or you could sell it to Konami, make some money, and then they'll never make it anyway.
Yeah, they'll hold on to it in their big old bank vault of ideas and copyrights and all that other stuff, IPs and things. And I'll have like $10.
Yes!
Score!
Never make the game. Gotcha this time, Konami.
Right.
You lose this round.
So what you got, Matt?
Not much horror related. I did finish Stranger Things 2. Finally finished it today, actually. Finally.
Have you finished it, Chris?
Yes, I finished it about a week after it released. I tried not to, but it's like, I got to. You know, once you start, you can't stop, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we tried to space it. We spaced it out over a course of 3 weeks, to be fair.
Well, yeah, you did pretty good. We'd watched it all within 48 hours, so...
Yeah, we could have done, but we literally forced ourselves to watch 3 at a time. Or how many at a time. But, yeah, I thought it was good. Overall, I really liked it. Wasn't perfect, but nothing is. There's like, I really liked the pacing, and then it gets to episode 7, and then, you know, like a train having to slow down so it doesn't slam into a child. It just halts for 35 minutes, and then we get some character development, and then we're like, okay, cool, we're gonna go back to the exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, here's some characters that you just don't care about. That are really unlikable. And
I liked Funshine Bear, alright? He was cool. That braid was amazing. It went down like past his like forearm. It was so long. It's so awesome. I want to know what the fuck he was doing. Like, what's he doing with these people? Like, why is he like so cool and like hanging out with uncool people? That's not really a spoiler at all. I mean, Funshine has no like real place in the plot or anything, so it's fine. It's just
he's like, I'm the big black dude.
Yeah.
I'm muscle.
Yeah.
Like, cool, that's your character. Great. Go away. I was talking to my aunt about it. Like, I hadn't watched the episode yet, and she was like, "It's a bit of a stinker." She said, "Just to warn you, don't get your hopes up for that one." And I'm glad she told me. But she said that it felt like they were quasi pitching a spin-off. Like, hey, we could do stuff with these characters. I'm like, no, they're rebels, and they're kind of unlikable, and they murder people.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I can't really get. You know, I mean, I know Elle has killed people, but they were actively threatening them at that time in you know, that present time.
Exactly.
And
yeah, I would agree that sorry, just while we're on that, I would agree that the placement seems a bit off because if you switched episode 6 and episode 7 around, I feel it would be slightly better at least because you don't lose so much going towards the finale.
You lose a lot of momentum. Like we luckily didn't watch it back to back. We watched that episode 6, which was great, and then this week we watched episode 6 last week, and then this week we watched 7. Like I can't imagine if you were like so on the edge of your seat, and then you go straight into 7 after 6. I'd be so pissed off.
If you're watching them one at a time, yeah.
But yeah, like, as I was saying when we were watching it, the problem I had is that it's too late in the series to just randomly include these characters again that we've only seen briefly for about 5 minutes at the very start and then forgotten about.
Yeah.
You've seen them briefly, and then all of a sudden to just literally slam the brakes on the plot to have this. I think it'd have been better if maybe episode 4 or 5, that's when she fucks off and leaves, and then we keep cutting back to her seeing her do this. So we're like, come on, when's she going to come back? We need to come back. And then when she finally says, I have to go back because my friends need my help, then you have this big satisfying moment like, fuck yes, she's going back.
Yeah.
Instead of for me, it was more of like, thank fuck, she's going back. Like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
It
felt
really weird. The idea of
it felt really weird that they crammed all that into one episode. Like, I just want to throw that. I want to make sure that's said. Like, at the beginning, she's going, and then at the end, she comes back. It's like, that's the fastest, weirdest plot, like, hairpin turn I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was. And I think that was my biggest problem. Like, I wouldn't have minded it so much if it was like spaced out throughout the series, because you'd have this build up going, come on, it's anticipation.
Yeah.
She's got to go back, they need her. But it had some cool moments. The biggest thing I took from it is we were sat there, and it was when they were planning their next hit, and the music's going, and I'm like, this music's good, I recognise this. I'm like, this is from Escape from New York. I'm sure it's from Escape from New York. Google, it's from Escape from New York.
Oh, nice.
I was like, that's so cool. It's the music that plays when Pliskin is arrested for robbing a bank. I think it's from like one of the deleted scenes or something. So it's like, that's so cool. But yeah, overall though, the series was really cool. Like, really cool. And I have to say, I'm really glad that Paul Reiser was a good guy.
Yeah,
I
like the way that, because that I didn't watch too much material leading up to the series just to kind of remain as unspoiled as possible.
Oh yeah, me too.
But the second they announced him as a cast member, your mind instantly kind of veers towards Burke from Aliens, and you think, he's going to be the dodgy, kind of like two-faced person.
Yeah, especially when it opens up and you go, oh shit, he's working for them.
Yeah.
And he keeps saying, I'm different. You're like, yeah, but I've seen Aliens, and you said you were different in that, and you were a dick. I bet he's really cool. Like, you can tell, there's that one moment where you can tell he really genuinely cares about Will, because he's a doctor.
Yeah.
Doctors care about their patients. He is different than the
Brenner.
From, is it Brennan?
Brenner, yeah.
Brenner, yeah. Where he was just fucking evil. Whereas this guy, he's a doctor. Doctors care. Like, doctors really care about people. It's like hammered into them.
Yeah.
Training, like, you want to keep people alive. And yeah, I thought it was nice, because I was really worried about when they leave. And they go back, and I was like, shit, they're going to find him. I hope he's all right.
Yeah, I wish they'd somehow found Bob in a similar way, because, like, Bob was my favourite character.
Yeah, did you see the bit right at the end in the final, like, 10 minutes where Will had drawn a picture of Bob as a superhero? I was like, that's really sweet.
Hits you right in the kidneys. / lower heart area.
Yeah, there was lots of that in the series. Like, Steve, I think, has grown to be one of my favourite characters just because Steve's really nice. He's really cool.
Yeah.
He's good, and he's become like Dustin's big brother.
In a way,
Dustin's big brother now. It's really
kind
cool.
of like
it's
a
really
double
sweet.
act now.
Yeah, because Dustin's mum's fucking crazy. All the parents are useless, except Will's mum. She's like the only one that is pragmatic at all. The others are so laid back and useless.
Well, I mean, you look at their environment. Like, I live in a generally sleepy, small side of town, and it's you just don't want to acknowledge anything outside of your small personal bubble, because if you do, it might disrupt everything, all the comforts that you have. So, I mean, I identify with a lot of what they're doing. Even Ted, I think Mike's dad, who just likes to sleep in the chair and ignore a whole lot of shit. It's just easier that way.
Yeah, I was saying to my girlfriend, it's like, I wish for one day I can be that relaxed and laid back and not be anxious as shit.
Yeah.
He's like, everything's fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Like, I wish I could be as laid back as you. He's a bit of a dick, but still, nothing stresses him. Like, he's cool. He's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, really, he's in, like, the deepest shit as far as the government goes. And, like, not saying, like, he is directly at fault, but, like, he's surrounded by some real conspiracy shit. And he's just like, we're all patriots here. Everything is fine. I'm going to take a nap on my lazy boy, and my wife is just going to go play with herself in the bathroom because I'm not going to do anything for her. I'm just going to chill out over here and nap and just be totally docile.
And just dead inside.
Yeah, but, the perfect citizen.
It's great. There was just lots of really, really nice character moments. Like, you know, when I can't remember Paul Reiser's character's name now, but the Doctor, when Hopper says to him,
Dr. Owens.
Promise me. Dr. Owens, when he's like, you got to promise me you'll do something to help her have a normal life. And he does, and he gets her a fake birth certificate, so now she's legally Hopper's daughter. And I was like, that is so sweet. That's like so nice. It's like, why can't more things be nice like this?
Yeah, it was a good twist. Like, it was nice to actually just like not have your suspicions confirmed for once. And I think that's why it was such a smart cast to get Paul Reiser involved as that person, because we all have the predetermination that he's going to be the bad guy, and then he doesn't turn out to be the bad guy at all. And it's just really nice.
Lesser filmmakers would just cast him as the bad guy.
Yep.
Like, he's the bad guy from Aliens. We cast him 'cause he's the bad guy in Aliens. Like, that's boring.
Yeah. But see, that's what my problem is, though. Like with this cast, it's so smart, and I'm not going to say anything bad about any of the actors or actresses, the children, even Callie. I like all of them. I even like all the punks. But then I kind of like Double Dragon and Beat 'em Ups and like Final Fight. Those kinds of punks are in those games, and they're endearing to me now. I don't really fear them or hate them at all. I think they're kind of cool. I especially like Funshine because he named himself after a Care Bear. But the problem is that all that good is there, and then you have episode 7 at all. Like, it's a 9-episode miniseries, but the first season was 8. You could drop episode 7. Like, if you think about it, you could drop all of episode 7, because like the only real point in episode 7 was that Elle learns to focus her powers to do stronger things, but she's already been able to do that in season 1.
Yeah.
She killed like a dozen people simultaneously in season 1. So she can do stuff. Yeah, she made the Demogorgon fucking evaporate. Exactly. Like her power is under control. She doesn't need anyone to coach her. So like the Callie thing doesn't make any sense at all, except as a setup for season 3 and 4.
Yeah. The sense that I got is that episode in particular was testing the waters for them to be able to branch out a little bit, and all of these kind of things it's like a double-edged thing to try and do. They kept it contained, they kept it to one episode, but then we're arguing, well, that episode is like the one dud, so it's kind of like swings and roundabouts. But I think they were kind of trying to test to see what they could do, but at the same time I think they kind of knew, and that's why it's so isolated, because it's kind of like
it does feel.
Yeah.
That's what I say, because it's the only episode where it focuses on one character.
It feels like someone's daughter. It feels like someone's daughter wanted to have an acting career, and they pulled some strings, and they just made an entire episode for that person, Callie, to star in. And I'm not saying anything bad about her. She did a great job. I think it feels like someone asked for a favor and got it, and then they put her in a really strong exposure point of Stranger Things, and now maybe she'll have a career, or maybe whoever else was the person receiving the favor will get a career, because it's so out of place to even have the first 5 minutes on episode 1 featuring these characters, and the fact that she's in episode 7, and also that her powers are to control people's minds to see things that aren't real. Like, okay, with Elle, she has telekinesis, like flat out. She can like manipulate the air around her to like create magnetic force or whatever to move things around. That's something. It's to me it makes more sense than I'm going to make your mind think it sees something that it doesn't. That like has like much less basis in actual science. And I'm not saying telekinesis is real. I'd be really surprised if it was. But it just feels like that's a stronger case in sci-fi than illusion.
You know what else it did? It did one thing in that episode as well that always annoys me in any kind of fiction. And that's when a character already knows that another character that they're friends with has special powers.
Yeah.
And then another one comes along and they have different powers and they go like, oh, yeah, as if they can do that. Like, why would you doubt this?
Yeah.
She can literally make you see stuff. Why would you then doubt, yeah, this person can't find you with just a picture. That's just silly. Like, why would you write a character like that? It's so...
Yeah.
It'd be like if there was an X-Men movie where Magneto is literally showing people that he can move metal with the power of his fucking mind. He can will it. And then a character is like, a character can run fast? Sure, as if. Like, why would you ever doubt that? You would be open to everything.
Yeah.
You know?
You'd be like, what's my special power?
Yeah, do I get one? It'd be like, I can't remember who it was that said it, but as soon as if you had categorical evidence and you definitely saw something supernatural, from that moment onwards, your mind would be open to everything.
Yeah.
You would not be skeptical of anything. You'd be like, wow, maybe that is a thing. Maybe that's a thing. So that always bugs me in fiction when there's always a character like that. It's like, why are you here?
It's just massive inconsistency in terms of like world logic.
Yeah.
So it's like you can get your head around this, but something completely mundane and it's arguably even less like what's the word? Supernatural.
Well, yeah, it's like, I mean, you can make me see spiders on my arm. I mean, I can deal with that, but someone finding you with a picture, that's just ridiculous. Telekinesis, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, besides that, I really liked it. I even like the way it ended because it's the type of ending that even if they didn't, I know they're gonna do season 3. I mean, obviously they are, but
yeah, it's actually been confirmed on a website called The Vulture, and there's an interview with the Duffer Brothers. They're talking about season 3 and 4 and how they have to like really focus down because the kids are getting older, and they want to make sure they're the same age as the characters in the TV show for maximum immersion, I guess.
Just do it set a year later each time. Just do it like that.
Yeah, that's what they're basically doing. And my problem with that is that, one, and I've actually been on record of saying this on the podcast, and I was listening to that podcast while I was working out a little while ago, I did not want a season 2. Because season 1 ended with just the right amount of like ambiguity that it didn't have to have a season 2 to close off anything. You could infer that the military just got their shit together and took that lab under control and maybe burned it all up. Or you could infer that Will only coughed up that one leech, but the leech wasn't compatible with the ecosystem that it fell out in and it died. Or you could infer that it lived somewhere else and created a new story. So like if there was a season 2, I would have actually wanted a whole new cast of characters dealing with that new situation. Like the Will's leech thing going into the sewer system and being carried off to possibly like a lake or whatever, and creating like a Lake Placid scenario of some kind with like an otherworldly extraplanar beast that lives in our world now that now has to be dealt with by a new cast of characters. That would have been great because you'd have kept the Stranger Things theme of the unknown. The season 2, the problem with it is that you're reusing assets now. It's no longer Stranger Things. And like even the enemies, like they had demo dogs. It's just the Demogorgon but smaller. There's no imagination there. And I'm going to go on record. I'm just going to go on record as saying this. I've had a much better idea for a season 2. And I don't even mind being arrogant about that. Because what they could have done... Okay, Will came back from the Upside Down at the end of season 1. And he coughed up some larvae or whatever, right? We don't know exactly what the Upside Down does to humans that are trapped there. We infer because of Will that it implants eggs or like breathing ecosystem stuff into their bodies, and then you basically harvest them for food. So is Barbara dead in this scenario, or does she come back through the gate as Barbara, right, and taken care of? But she's also an element of the Upside Down. So she's like a changeling or something. Like she can actually create new life from the Upside Down in the Earth. She can, on our Earth. Or she can also like mind control like Bob, for example, which would have made an extra creepy scene because he's always easy peasy. Bob the superhero, super nice guy, getting close to Will. Will is like the one like link between the Upside Down and the real world. So Barbara and Bob would be working to try to get Will, and then everything is unfamiliar, everything is still strange, and you have like this awesome opportunity for Barbara to be like the Thing from the movie The Thing, and like devour people, perhaps Billy, who no one likes and is irredeemable at this point, would have been a perfect tool for that plot scenario. Barbara just being like doing something, and Billy like, hey babe, would you like to get some of this dick? Because you're a nerd, and I think that you'd like to have some of this dick. That's something Billy would say. And then, like, Barbara's like, oh, sure. And then she eats him alive. Like, that would be such an awesome episodic cliffhanger. And I think that would have been way better than what they did, which is just the same again, but, like, Walking Dead style. Where, oh my god, the town is overrun by demodogs. But the only people who are affected by it are the main cast. No one's parents are even aware that deadly creatures that eat flesh even run around the town. And at the end of it, it's like no one ever knew. What? What's going on?
Yeah, I felt that was a little bit convenient. Because they're kind of implying that it was kind of, spread out across the town and everything, but we don't see like literally anything else happen with them other than either at that junkyard or then back at the institute.
Yeah.
It's because Steve scared them all off of his baseball bat.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause he's Steve Monster Hunter. He's awesome.
See, that's the thing. Season 1 was so strong because of all the tropes that they've upset. You had Nancy and Steve, right? But Nancy ended up with Steve at the end of the season when you thought Nancy was going to be end up with Jonathan because of their shared trauma. But Nancy and Steve also had the shared trauma, so it still matched that those two would end up at the end of the season. And I loved that so much because it made people go, but what about Jonathan? Oh, but in the end, Nancy and Jonathan have little to nothing in common except for shared trauma and investigating the problems in the town. Because Nancy was looking for was looking for Barbara. John was looking for his brother Will. So they had the same motive, but that doesn't necessarily mean they should be in a romantic relationship. And I thought that was so smart that the Dover brothers were able to differentiate. You don't have to ship everyone together, right? But then season 2 undoes all that. Fuck that. Then you have 11 making a sacrifice at the end of season 1 where she disintegrates the Demogorgon and then ends up in the Upside Down somewhere for whatever reason. Like, we don't know why, but it's called Stranger Things, so you have to let it happen. You just try to understand it yourself. Season 2, she wakes up and walks out the same hole the Demogorgon used to go in and out of the school, just like that. No problem.
I did have a major problem with that. They set up this whole kind of, he's clearly leaving her egos. Is she picking them up in some other kind of dimension?
Yeah.
Or, they kind of implied all of this stuff, and when actually it's just like, 5 minutes later, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, she just
Like,
leaves.
basically, Doctor Who does that with every single cliffhanger ever.
Oh, wow. You guys must be extra tired of it then.
That's why I didn't watch it.
If you watched, people who watch Doctor Who would be extra tired of it. I just assumed since you knew that you would understand what I was trying to say there. Yeah, like that's the thing. That's the main problem I have with season 2 is it just undoes the power of season 1 by redoing the tropes that they undid. Like they left all these frayed strands that were much more interesting, but then they sewed them together into something that's normal, and I don't really care anymore.
That is absolutely true, but
I can see that.
I feel like in this instance, I guess it kind of like literally is because there's one in the first season and then there are more in the second, but it's kind of like an aliens situation.
Yeah.
And I'm an aliens person more than an alien person. So this season, this season I preferred more. I think just because everything was turned up to kind of like 11 rather than.
Boo.
Yeah, I know I didn't want to go.
I
there,
make that
but
joke too. It's great. I love it.
It's a good joke.
But I loved it. Yeah, it's great.
Well,
I still enjoyed it. I did like the fact that at the end it reminds the viewers that they didn't kill the Mind Flayer. They just stopped it coming through. It's probably quite angry.
Yeah.
I did like the new creature they came up with just because the Demogorgon in the first one just felt like a monster, didn't it? It's again like the aliens thing where it just feels like a creature that's just killing for the sake of killing, whereas this thing is smart and feels more benevolent. Like it set traps for them, like when the soldiers go into its network, and as the fog rolls in before the the creatures arrive, you can hear it laughing. It's like it's smart and intelligent. So I like the fact that the new creature they count with was not just I'm a monster. Was more, hi, I'm intelligent. I'm using these things and I want to kill everything. So please let me come into your head so I can kill you all. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, but Cloud Monster, seriously, like that's what I'm saying. Like, if they had gone with my Barbara idea, which they didn't know about, if they could have gone with that, that would have made a more interesting monster, in my opinion. Because when you have like CGI Cloud Monster, that to me is extremely boring. CGI Demogorgon Monster works because it was still unfamiliar. We didn't know what its abilities were, if it was even susceptible to anything. You find out it's susceptible to fire. But this is the link here where season 1 is better than season 2 because season 2 had the Demodogs, sure, and it was like a Walking Dead or Aliens situation, sure, but they couldn't trans-dimensionally travel like the Demogorgon did. Remember the Demogorgon would come out of a wall and it wouldn't be like drywall and wallpaper. It would rip a hole through reality, and holy shit, how do you deal with that? That spikes your adrenaline, it spikes your fear response. But when you just have, it's dogs and one of them really likes Three Musketeers bars for reasons, Okay, really? We've seen E.T., we've seen Aliens, we've seen, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking at all the movie references at this point that it's almost like it's not even its own thing, except for Elle and Hopper, which were a great combination in season 2. Like, everything from episode 1 through 6 was fun and awesome, and I loved it. 7, what the fuck? And then 8 and 9 was like, oh, they're just gonna, okay, I guess. And one thing that I really want to drive home that I don't really, I mean, I'm talking to friends about this. Mike, what the fuck is he doing in season 2? Nothing. He's just a dick now.
Sulking.
Just to stand there and look miserable because his girlfriend's not there.
Yeah, he's just a dick now, and there's no reason for him to be a dick to Max through the entire show. I can understand in the beginning because he thinks that Lucas is trying to replace Elle with Max. I get that, and that's fine. But at the end, like episode 8 or 9 or whatever, when Max has met Elle and she walks up to Mike and she's like, I can understand why you call her your mage and I think she's really cool. And then Mike's like, you're still not in our party. Fuck you, Mike. Get the hell out of here. What are you doing? Why are you written this way? You were the emotional good guy in the first one. You were the one who was like, we have to save Elle, and I'm going to trust Elle no matter what, and it turns out in the end, it pays off. And then in the second season, he's against that idea, and Lucas, who is the one on the other side of that equation in season 1, is the one who's like, I'm going to trust Max, I think she's great, and then Max doesn't even do anything except for drive a car.
Well, it's the odd switcheroo.
You know?
Well, that and threaten to, like, castrate her brother.
Oh, that would have been nice, yeah.
Yeah.
But then her brother didn't have to even exist. Like, Billy didn't have to exist. He did nothing in the show except for hit on Mike's mom, which was really weird. I was like, are we going there? Is she going to leave Ted for Billy? Is that what's happening? Because holy crap, that's interesting. But also kind of out of place. It deserves to be in a different movie entirely. So what are we doing here? What is Billy for except for to die at this point? You know?
He will die and it will be glorious.
It will be glorious. But it didn't happen in season 2. So we're all blue balled.
Oh, but it's...
We're all Billy balled.
Yeah, the smoke monster. I will say one thing though. As much as you dislike the mind flare as they called it, it was still a better smoke monster than the smoke monster from Lost. It's what the smoke monster from Lost should have been.
Didn't watch Lost.
Some weird thing. Well, it was a bit shit. Well, season 1 to 3, really good. The monster in the jungle is just like this weird smoke thing that it just kills anything. And you're like, what does it want? And then they explain and it's boring.
Yeah.
It was a man. No, it's just shit. And it can like take the form of people and it messes with you. Like this, because this thing was benevolent and was trying to, manipulate staff when it could and all that shit. It was a better smoke monster than the smoke monster from Lost. So,
yeah.
I mean, I can see why you didn't like it, but I kind of liked how it looked as well. It looked imposing and it looked almost Lovecraftian in the sense where you just can't really comprehend it.
Yeah.
So like,
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. You can't comprehend it. You see it. It's just a bunch of smoke and angles, and it's like, why is
it's like, what even are you?
Yeah, why are those angles formed? But it just...
Yeah, it's like...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is that even what it really looks like?
Yeah.
That's what I'm interested in. So.
But right now, I'm not confident that Season 3 will explain what it even looks like or even give us anything further. And in that case, I would have just much rather, like, the Upside Down have an otherworldly, influential, like, entity force that would take Barbara. I really wanted Barbara to come back. They even set that up like, oh, we don't know where Barbara is, so we got this top-notch private detective to figure that out for us. And then he just exists to have the case handed to him. And then he's like, well, let's just disseminate the story to other publications until there's something that sticks, and then that's it. That's the whole reason. Or you could just let Barbara die. I'm not saying that's not my idea. I mean, my idea is that Barbara be a fucking awesome monster. Because then people who are like, oh, we loved Barbara in season 1. How tragic was her death? And then she comes back as the villain. Fuck yes. But instead they're like, let's just breathe smoke into Will and make Will a bad guy, kind of. Leave Will alone. Will hasn't done anything in season 1 or 2 that he wasn't influenced heavily into doing. We don't even know who Will is in comparison to Mike, Lucas, and Dustin, or what his position is in the party or the circle of friends and all that kind of stuff, because he's just constantly being abducted or he's being possessed, And that's the part that really bothers me, where it's like you don't even have a character there.
Will buy his bad time.
Some people are just unlucky.
Yeah. And the other thing that bothers me, and this is very small, this is so small, but it's like, to me, it's like a chip in the armor, almost, because like I can't be confident anymore that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, is that in season 2, Mike explains the class roles for the party, like they're out of the video game, or out of the D&D world, like in real life, how they see themselves as party members. And I think Mike was the paladin, Lucas is the ranger, Dustin's the bard, and they list Will as the cleric. Now, I'm okay with that in season 2, but if you look at season 1, Will the Wise is very clearly a wizard. His character is dressed up in robes, his character has a long beard, his character casts a fireball at the Demogorgon, which misses, and that's what ends up having his character killed in the D&D game.
Yeah.
So he's not a cleric, he's a wizard. It's just a small discrepancy in the story, but he's definitely not a cleric. And I'm just like, no, they don't even understand their D&D well. Like they don't even mention that Zoomer isn't a class in D&D. And it's like they just sort of accept it. And I mean, I know they're just kids, but it's starting to feel now much more like these aren't kids scripted into an 80s TV show that like really like fits the mold. These are now kids pretending to be 80s kids, but now they know differently. You know, it sort of takes me out of it now.
Yeah, I feel like some of the language in this season as well, and some of the way the kids acted is just like, I don't know, different.
Yeah.
For like kids, and I can't remember if we talked about it on the podcast, but I remember watching like some feedback at the time about the new It movie as well, and people saying, kids in the 80s didn't talk like that. It's kind of like modern vernacular, and the kind of like the way Richie Tozier, especially, which incidentally was played by the guy who plays Mike, played by the kid who plays Mike.
Yeah.
Beep beep Richie.
Yeah, exactly. And some of the things that he was saying and the way he said it, people were saying, it's kind of like a modern sensibility. If you're going to do a period piece, try and keep it kind of like you say. Otherwise, it kind of like degenerates into very obviously modern kids with a modern script pretending to be the 80s rather than kind of selling that believability.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes me feel like these are now kids that are just pretending to be 80s kids, and they can't possibly even know what it's like because they weren't even alive before the year 2000. That's the weirdest thing. It's like they're cast by people who were 80s kids who don't remember what it's like to be 80s kids, and it's just starting to fall apart a little bit. And I just really don't look forward to season 3. I'll watch it, I'll binge it, but I don't look forward to it. I really wish there wasn't a season 2. Season 1 was like this perfect like movie, and season 2 undoes all the perfection of season 1 in continuity, and it makes it less of a thing by comparison. I could talk about Stranger Things 2 and 1 all day, but that's where I'm at with Stranger Things. I still liked it. The performances were top notch. The acting was great. The casting was great.
The kid who plays Will was fantastic.
Yes, spectacular. The guy's got a future if he wants to keep acting. Like when they set fire to the vines and he's screaming, I was sold. I was like, that guy is in unbearable agony I have never even seen before. Yeah, exactly. It's so good. And that's what I'm saying. Like the kids, the guy who plays Hopper, they're all selling it. They're all selling the script to me. I'm still like invested in their performances, but the world that they've built is starting to fall apart, and the themes that they've wove into season 1 have been frayed out, and that's just it's unfortunate. That's all I'm saying. It's not bad. It's just unfortunate that that's how they're going to go. It feels like they didn't have a season 2 planned before Netflix waved a big bag of money in their face and said, "Keep going," because that's what it feels like to me. I don't think they had anything in place before the end of season 1 was successful.
Yeah. Some of the behind the scenes things I've been listening to and watching, like I don't know if you guys saw the Beyond Stranger Things on Netflix as well, which is kind of like it's basically like Talking Dead for Stranger Things, and they were talking to the Duffer Brothers about it. Apparently, season 2 was recommissioned before actual season 1 came out, although it was really close to season 1 coming out, so it wasn't recommissioned on the back of season 1 and the kind of like the kind of word of mouth that spread about Stranger Things. So they said in some ways it was good because we were thinking about season 2 before we were allowed to be clouded by all of the kind of like, you know, hype and people enjoying it and everything, the feedback. But they also said, you know, we kind of had to sit down and go, where do we go from here? You know, how does this become a story? So I definitely think they weren't planning for a long-term thing. And I think that, you know, I think I liked it more than you, Chris, but I'm looking forward to Alien 3 and seeing, you know, the kind of like the weird, difficult season.
Yeah.
And kill the characters. It's really infuriating.
Yeah, see, that's why I haven't watched Alien 3. I heard that Newt and Sigourney Weaver's character die, and I'm like, no, fuck that. In my head, they found home and peace and they live happily. I don't want that for them. Why would anyone do that to them? What the fuck? You know, put them in peril again, sure, but don't murder them both outright. Of course, they couldn't. They probably couldn't cast Newt again because she probably grew up, and you know you wouldn't be able to like. Well, this just happened recently, and now she's like 15 years old. What happened? I guess, but still.
Yeah, it's a depressing movie. And Michael Biehn, I think successfully sued 20th Century Fox for it as well because they used his likeness without his permission.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm like, you didn't even ask me. I'd have done it.
Yeah.
But no, just use my likeness. Yeah, fuck you. Give me money. Fair enough.
Pay me for
I'll
my
protect
product.
your interests. Yeah, pay me for my face, because there's people like me.
Yeah.
It's Michael Bihn's face. Look at this face. How can you not like this face? It's Michael Biehn.
So, Tom, do you have
speaking
anything?
Speaking of awesome faces, for the first time last night I watched Total Recall.
Fuck yes.
Yes, it was amazing. It was everything I'd hoped it would be and more. And there were some amazing faces in that, namely kind of like bulging and flexing and blowing up. I can't believe I'd gone this long without seeing
I
it.
know, right? I just watched it last month, and it's like one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I can quote it endlessly. It's just so much fun. It's got so many good Arnie lines in it.
Yeah.
It does.
You think
Consider
this is
this
the real
the divorce.
Because I was like you think this is the real Craig? It is.
Yeah, where he's pretending to be the hologram, right?
Yeah.
And
so good.
Yeah, I mean, it ends beautifully too. It's such a good movie. Like, you don't know really in the end if he actually went through all those things or if that was what he bought at Recall as his vacation.
Yeah.
And you just don't know. It ends right there like that. I mean, he gets the girl that he specifically asked for. He gets the adventure he specifically asked for. So there's no way saying that it wasn't real or it wasn't that the recall memory thing worked in its entirety. But honestly, like after all that, he can't go home and look at his wife the same way again.
I shot you in my dream. I went to Recall and killed you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always
like how they
ending.
played with that in the second act as well. You know, that kind of when that guy turns up and he's like, yeah, you're having an episode. I'm really sorry. You need to kind of snap out
yeah.
of this.
I was fooled.
And until that drop of sweat, I was kind of like, this is, you know, I'm conflicted.
Doesn't he just shoot him?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah,
you.
then he sweats and he's like, obviously, you know, he's not
Kill
real.
him now.
Yeah.
It's got some great Arnie grunts as well. You know, it's just so much fun. Come on, Corhagen, you got what you want. Give these people air.
Yeah, that's one my cousin likes to quote a lot. I've never heard it before until I saw the movie. I was like, oh shit, that's where he gets that from. And not to steal anyone's thunder real quick, but I just wanted to say really fast that, not really fast, but I'm going to say it shortly, is that people who say there aren't strong female leads in sci-fi movies haven't seen Total Recall. There's 2 or 3 of them at least, you know, like the midget girl. Yeah. Oh my god. I was like, she's got a gun and she's ready to go. She's got a knife and she's ready to go. I love that girl.
They're all badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a fun movie.
Yeah,
so violent as well.
Yeah, incredibly, and lots of practical effects, which was nice. Although they did have that, like I think they had the one CGI effect, which was the X-ray walkway thing.
Oh, I always loved that as a kid.
It looks good though.
So cool. Yeah, that's the. I always remember that scene because when I got my mum bought me Terminator 2 on VHS when it came out. Because obviously I was too young to go and see it, but I loved Arnold Schwarzenegger and I loved the Terminator, even though I shouldn't have watched it at the age. But anyway, because I was like 5 or whatever when the second one came out, and she bought it for me on VHS. I always remember at the start there was this thing right at the beginning that was like had like a competition to win like Terminator 2 memorabilia, which was you could win like the NES games, the pinball machine, a VR headset, like classic, old school VR, which was nothing but like it looked like Star Fox, and then it had like an advertisement for Total Recall, and that you had to like answer a question, I think relating to that or something. But this was like a competition for Terminator 2. It was really weird, and the clip they showed 2 clips from Total Recall. The first one was when he takes off the woman's head, like the robotic head he's got.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And the second one's when he's walking through the X-ray thing, and then he jumps through it. And it's like that's been imprinted in my mind since I was little, because I just got the image of him leaping through the glass. Well, it's not even Schwarzenegger, I don't know, but the character leaping through the glass is just imprinted in my psyche. It's such a good movie.
Yeah,
it's so violent. I love it so much. And also it made me terrified of Mars. I was like, I don't want to go out on a planet that's got no atmosphere. My eyes will pop out.
Yeah, that looks, really
like
painful.
Fucking bad way to go, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I used to have nightmares of that shit. I loved it. 'Cause it's like, you think, your body will explode from the pressure or something. It's like, no, you just writhe around in agony and then you inflate and your eyes pop out.
Yep.
Slowly. Cool, that's great. But then they turn the air on. They're okay.
Yeah.
That's. I don't think that's quite how how it works scientifically.
It's still bloated. Kill me. I can breathe, but kill me. It's a fun movie. I want to watch Total Recall now.
We'll go on.
Yeah.
We'll continue without you.
Well, it's
see you guys then.
It's Chris's fault because obviously you Chris, you were reading the Arnie autobiography.
Yeah.
And then you recommended it just in general to everyone on Facebook, as it's really kind of empowering. So I've been listening to that, and it is really good and really interesting. He's a hustler, like no kind of like qualms about it.
Nope.
Like as a young kid, he was like skipping school to go out on the street and like pretend he'd lost his bus fare to get money.
Yeah, like it's in his blood to panhandle and make money and turn $1 into $2. And it's weird because I hate advertising so much, but Arnold Schwarzenegger is like a marketing genius. But I love Arnold, so it's weird.
So that's kind of inspired me to watch all of his films that I've not seen before. So
yeah, well, you need to watch Conan. I mean, that's like that breakout
Conan's
film.
On that list.
Yeah, it should be on the top of the list. Like I said last time, I think you needed to fucking stop this podcast and go watch Conan, and then Matt can go watch Total Recall, and then you both can come back.
Let me watch it.
And I'll just have an inner dialogue by myself and just carry on the podcast without you guys.
Well, the reason I watched Total Recall first is also because at this time of year, especially kind of gearing up towards Christmas, I get really nostalgic for the Angry Video Game Nerd. So I've been watching loads of his episodes, and he, so obviously I'm listening to the Arnie autobiography, so I watched his episode on Arnie films and saw the Total Recall section again, and I was like, oh yeah, I've never seen Total Recall, I should watch Total Recall. So but I will watch Conan, and I will watch Last Action Hero.
I liked Last Action Hero. I thought it was fun. I like it. It was like the least successful of his movies, but Last Action Hero still I enjoyed. I thought it was smart and fun.
It's weird. Yeah, it is. It's weird. I've read some of because I loved it as a kid. I had the action figures, everything. I didn't play the games, thankfully, because the games are really bad, really bad. And I looked at the critique, I think, a couple of years ago, and it was so odd. Like, some of the critics just didn't understand that it was supposed to be a comedy and it was self-aware and it was making fun of Schwarzenegger movies. They're like, oh, and it's got so many cliches. Like, that's the point. It's got cliches of a Schwarzenegger movie in particular.
Yeah,
making fun of it. Like, it even actively makes fun of the fact that in a lot of his movies he says the words "I'll be back." He says it in Terminator. He says it in The Running Man. I think he might say it in Raw Deal. He says it in lots of his films.
Yeah.
I think he even says it. He might say it in Commando as well. He says it in Commando.
Probably.
He goes, "I'll be back, Bennett," or something like that. He says the words. So they make a joke of it in Last Action Hero, and he says to the kid, "I'll be back," and he goes, "You said it all the time." I do. It's really hurt about it.
What?
And then there's that great moment because it's a PG-13 movie, and he obviously writes a really horrible, nasty, explicit word on the bit of paper. Says, "Say this." He's like, "You're disgusting." I'm not saying that it's gross, you know.
Yeah.
Like, it's making fun of it. And then they go into real world, and there's the great moment where he steals the car from the guy, and he's like, you expect people to say, make my day, your time is up, how about this, rubber baby buggy bumpers? You think I was going to say that? How can not anyone get that this is a comedy?
Yeah.
How can no one get that?
It's fantastic.
Stupid people.
Calm down, Matt. Calm down.
They've ruined my movie. I'm gonna hunt them all down.
It's an older movie. Everyone who's made that movie has moved on or died, so it's fine. Just calm down.
That one's dead. He's next, and then him.
As long as
speaking of films that everyone who's worked on them has like got old or died, Pit and the Pendulum.
Aw.
It's good, right? So
I was like, is that how he's gonna do it? Oh, that's okay. I didn't have anything planned. Yeah, I guess they've all paid the price.
Oh, I'm gonna accept that.
Yeah, that was good. Because Vincent Price, in case nobody got that.
Oh, I love Vincent Price.
Do you?
He's so fucking.
Well, why don't you marry him?
Oh, he's dead. Mary's corpse. No. Oh.
Wait, does that make you the corpse bride? If you married,
two men can get married. Actually, not one of them has to be the bride. I don't know why I said it in that voice. It's weird.
Yeah, that's a weird voice.
I don't even know who I'm making fun of. I don't even know where I am anymore. But no, yeah, I suppose we should finally talk about the movie.
Yeah. So you slow down and get your bearings, and I'll introduce the rest of the movie.
Wait, I don't remember getting here.
But yeah, I chose The Pit and the Pendulum because of you two and your zombie flesh eaters and your dead alive. We needed to cleanse our palates, as I'd mentioned, I think, in the last podcast. And this was the best way that I knew how to. I mean, it's Vincent Price, classy and classic. And it's also Edgar Allan Poe, classy and classic, except for maybe his lifestyle. I don't really know much about Poe. And I remember seeing this movie with my mother because she loves watching old movies. Well, to her, they're movies of when she was a teenager. But for me, it's like, brand new stuff. And there's a lot of good in old movies. And I'm not just saying like by proxy or whatever. I mean, like the way they acted in older movies, the way they carried on their scripts and the set pieces, and of course there's all practical effects because they didn't have CGI. All of these things, like they really combine. Like the writing is almost always smarter without all the gimmicky, formulaic things that we're used to. And like this movie is, of course, is no exception. It's really, really strongly written, really strongly performed, and I really enjoyed the shit out of it when we watched it. Except for like the weirdo psychedelic colors at the beginning and the end of the movie, where it's like they have like neon paint on neon paint or something, and that's how we're going to introduce the movie. Like what? That's not how you do that.
It was a bit disparate and not really kind of like related to the rest of the movie, but I don't know, I kind of liked it. It did kind of set a sort of atmosphere, like, this is kind of like creepy and weird, and we're gonna start on a weird fantastical journey into, like, I don't know, like the paint was made to look like blood as well at points. So
yeah,
I suppose so. I mean, there was a lot of use of colour throughout the film as well, wasn't there? Like anytime there was a flashback or something,
yes,
or the character was telling a story, there was use of colour. And it was while we were watching it, and I realised I think I knew what they were trying to do, because the colour in the movie was very rich and vibrant anyway in places, but still looked dark and dingy, which is sounds a bit contradictory. But I think what they were going for, it seemed like it was they called it the pulp comics. From like the 50s, where it was like the murder mystery ones, like the ghost train,
Yeah, I know
stuff
like
that.
I know what you mean. That kind of like golden age of horror, kind of like vivid kind of colours.
It's like if anyone's seen Creepshow, like the introductory scene in Creepshow, is it makes it look like it's a comic.
Yeah,
it's that type of thing. So I think that's what they were going for in use of the colours, especially the flashbacks, because there's that one, I know it's very much skipping ahead, but there's
worry about
the bit when you see Nicholas very young, and it starts off in a small little box that's just blue, and as he moves along, like the rest of the scene starts like moving with him, like they it's almost like it's drawing at the same time. It's really really nice. And what it is just like it's black, and then they just move whatever's out of the way. It's probably just like a bit of black card on the editing board, but yeah, it's just the way I felt very very artistic. Yes. Artistic.
Smoking jacket and pipe, check.
That's my pipe noise. But yeah, I think the use of the colour was good at times. I mean, I do agree that it was really weird how vibrant it is at the beginning and right at the end.
Yeah.
Like, here's lots of strange colours. It's the 60s. We've got colour in movies.
Yeah.
We're going to use the shit out of it.
I mean, I guess I'm overestimating the fact that they're probably really proud of the color in their movies because it's still new.
Yeah, probably. That's what I mean. Yeah, they're like, we've got colour now. Just put it everywhere.
Yeah, we can do all this cool stuff. Oh, man. But, yeah, so the story...
It's like when modern films with CGI.
I'm sorry, what?
It's like modern films with CGI.
Yeah, I guess so.
Got all this stuff now. Use it.
But by now, we should have gotten over CGI. I think it's been like 30 years. Well, when was Jurassic Park out? Didn't they have CGI in Jurassic Park at some point? Or is it all practical?
I want to say like 93, 94.
Yeah, something like that.
4 years.
So yeah, it's probably 20 years. Get over it. Stop with the CGI. Start examining like how movies could be better made instead of how they could be more efficiently made. Because what we really need now are movies that still inspire and like show us something new or like some interesting tricks instead of just branding being re-merchandised to us, like when they did the RoboCop remake, which was completely unnecessary. And we talked about that on the cast, where they could have just re-released RoboCop as it was, just Blu-ray the whole thing, and then people would go to the theaters just to watch RoboCop again.
I would.
Yeah.
Same with Total Recall, right? I mean, I haven't seen.
Fuck yeah, dude! I'd be there day one.
I've never seen either of those. It's like when they re-released Terminator 2 for a short amount of time. I went there on my birthday to go and see it.
Yeah.
I've never seen Terminator 2 in the cinema, so of course I'm going to go and see it. So much better at the cinema. I have just been informed by my assistant to my right that the colour was almost like a rainbow, wasn't it? There was lots of different colours. Multiple colours can be related to themes of insanity.
Oh.
Which does make sense. Actually makes sense for the movie,
It does.
Wow.
And I think the other thing I thought of, in the past couple of minutes is that wasn't he like a painter as well?
Oh, of
So-
course
Yeah, he was a
painter.
painter. Yeah, you're right. Holy shit, we're putting it together now. Oh man, we're solving the mystery, guys.
This is a podcast where you learn. Learn with us.
Yeah.
Please.
But yeah, so I really liked I like the overall story, and I mean I don't know if it's word for word the Edgar Allan Poe story, Pit and the Pendulum.
Well, I've read the synopsis of the Edgar Allan Poe story, so I could give you a kind of a breakdown of exactly how much the film adheres to it, and that is the film adheres to it mostly, but that's because it's like literally a couple of pages long, and it's only the thing at the very end.
Oh, I see.
Oh.
So they put a story around the idea then.
Yeah, which I want to commend this film for because, let me get the quote up. Basically, the producer and the director, we were talking about, his name's Roger Corman? Yeah, Roger
Corman, yes.
They said here, where is it? The method we adopted on The Pit and the Pendulum was to use the Poe short story as the climax for a third act, because a 2-page short story is not about to give you a 90-minute motion picture.
Nope.
So
No.
it says, we then constructed the first 2 acts in what we hoped was a manner faithful to Poe, as his climax would only run for a short time on the screen. So I just wanted to commend this production because I feel like it really did a good job of kind of introducing tension and racking things up and putting in mystery and atmosphere, all of those other things, when the actual only bit in the Edgar Allan Poe short story is essentially a guy who's been captured by the Spanish Inquisition being tortured, and that's it.
That's really I mean, considering the film, I mean, I'll just say I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Had my
Are you
full
wearing
attention the whole
pants
time.
right now?
I was, but no, I really enjoyed it, and it kept me. It had my full attention the entire time I was watching it, and the fact that they literally just went, okay, this is how it ends. So we got to figure out what happens before it. Like we got to figure out what happens before it and make it believable, and not feel like the ending's just tacked on. Not make it feel, because you had that sometimes where you think, oh, you just it's just an excuse to have a twist ending. You know, like you have a lot of horror films like that. It's like, oh, you're just building up to that, and you just have an excuse to have 90 more minutes of this.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that the rest of the story was
manufactured,
made up to. Yeah, I had no idea. I thought it was. I just assumed it was a not direct adaptation, but a somewhat faithful one. But apparently, it's just the ending.
Yeah.
I can dig that.
I mean, honestly, you could take the Edgar Allan Poe story and consider that's the prequel to this story, because of the way the story is written. It's like the son of the man who owned and manufactured the pendulum to use in the Spanish Inquisition, and he just uses it in his timeline. So yeah, it's really good.
I was thinking the same thing. It could be a kind of like because it's all about kind of like echoes of the past and kind of like the ghosts of the past. So it's really kind of neat that the Poe story could serve as kind of like something that happened back in the time when his father Sebastian was in charge. Yeah. And it's really neat how it fits together like that.
It makes me want to just like meet the people who made this movie and just shake all of their hands. Like wash my hands between, but like it's they're dirty, they're old.
Some of them are dead. So
well, yeah, I was going to say I think some of them you'd have to break through a brick wall.
Wow, yeah, I have to exhume them.
What are you doing? What are you doing? I want to shake Vincent Price's hand.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Come on.
Thank you for your work, Vincent.
Yes. And he'd say, "You're welcome." And it's like, "Oh shit, he's alive."
You're welcome, my friend.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I'll have my assistant Raoul write you an autograph.
I have to say, when there's that moment where he's showing them around the torture chamber and he's explaining all the gruesome things that happened there, I could listen to him talk about stuff like that for hours. Just the way he says it, I'm just like, I could listen to you talk about this shit for ages, mate.
I was thinking this a couple of times throughout the movie. There was the bit, where they discover the hidden passage, and the guy is giving him the third degree, kind of like, you're doing this, and he's like, maybe it is me.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa. He's just like, the way he says words, you could just listen to him read the phone book, it'd be great.
Yeah. I mean, that's why there'll never be another Price. Like, Vincent Price has nailed that horror cliche so well that you can't reproduce it. And it's really important. And like, honestly, this is the only Vincent Price movie I've seen from beginning to end. And I'm just scared because like I don't want to watch all the Vincent Price movies and then like half of them be terrible. But I don't know if it's possible that they're terrible with Vincent Price in them. So I really do need to sit down and watch them all sometime.
Yeah, even if the film's bad, he's in it, so he'll be entertaining because he's got such a good screen presence.
Yeah.
He's so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Even when he's being really hammy, like, I was like, I don't care. It's like when he's he's telling about how he looked, when his wife was there before she died. And it's even like the subtle things in his performance, like in his body language. Like, I absolutely believe that he adored her and worshipped her. Like, just the little mannerisms and the way he looked at her. I was like, I completely believe that he was in love with this woman.
Yeah.
And he looks completely distraught. I
What's
will say one thing that made me chuckle when we were watching it is it's when the brother arrives. The guy who just had for the entire movie had a stick right up his arse.
Yeah.
I loved him though.
This hurts.
I loved him. Go on.
Yeah, he was really good fun. But it made me laugh when they're sitting and she's like, oh yes, so do you live in London? He's like, yes, I live in London. Where are you from? I'm from Barcelona. I'm like, what? Something is not right here. The American's from London.
Yeah,
he's English, and the English woman is what is going on here?
It's kind of like, welcome to Spain.
It was that one that my grandparents always bring up. My granddad in particular always makes them chuckle. I can't remember what film it's a film about a biopic about Jesus, and it had a big thing when it came out. Is it had a cameo from John Wayne in it, and there's a bit in it. He's like one of the Romans, and he's like, "Truly, he was the Son of God." It's like, why are you doing this?
Wow!
Stop it. Get out of here! It's like, just get John, get John off the set. He's confused. John, your Western set, it's over there. Just walks on, just like the idea. Just walks on, put the armor on, just walked up and just said it like, someone get John some help. Come on, just get him. Come on, John, come over here. Come on.
Yeah.
Got some Native Americans you can shoot. Just come over. Goddamn pilgrims. So
yeah. I don't think John Wayne ever
it.
called him. Did he call himself the Son of God? Is that what you were just saying, or was that how he was introduced?
He looks up.
Yeah, no, he's
he
like.
looks up.
Is he like
at
Pontius
the-
Pilate or something? Like,
No, he's just like a Roman soldier.
Oh,
apparently,
okay.
And just looks up at Jesus and goes, "Truly, he was the Son of God."
Oh, okay.
Damn
yea,
it, John
verily.
Yeah.
Truly, he was the Son of God, Pilgrim.
Yea, it bestow upon thee. Get him off. Get him off, John.
Yeah.
But that's film's there. But it just made me chuckle, and it's like, so you're from London? Yes. Like,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Honestly,
But no,
I didn't pick up on that at
it seems
all
perfect.
because of the fact that I'm not really that marinated in London culture. But
it's fine.
I
But,
just sort of assumed
just
that
makes
that's
me
maybe what they might have sounded like back then, or maybe his culture or whatever. Like he seemed well off. He had nice clothes and a sword and a hat and a what he did was
Where's the sword go?
he took it off.
Could use a sword.
He took it off and put it in his room, which I thought was mighty
He's like,
civil
"Could
of
use
him.
Yeah, it was nice.
Instead of walking around armed the whole time, he just had to leave it in his
Trust
room.
anyone. I trust no one.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I liked his character. I felt what we were saying as we were watching it that I felt like because I straight away I thought someone's fucking with him. Someone's fucking with Nicholas. And I just said I feel like the fact that he turns up, they did not bank on happening.
Yeah. That is
He
true.
was
Yeah.
Literally, and it might have gone lots. Well, actually, no, it wouldn't have gone just as smooth. It probably would have gone to shit anyway. But yeah. So I suppose we should talk about the plot. Somewhat.
Yep.
He wants to take the reins. Yeah.
Okay.
He wants to take the reins.
Oh, who wants to? Okay, I thought I said he wants to take the
Yes.
reins. I'm like, who are you talking about?
Him over there in the corner. I can see
Yeah,
him.
you see
He's
him.
talking to me.
Is he the bye-bye
some,
man?
like- Yeah, no, that's
can't
some Will
kill
Byers
them.
shit there.
Yeah.
He likes it
can't-
cold.
You are
he wants
mom.
to take the reins.
You are mom. Oh God, fuck, burn this kid already. Which, I mean, I don't know why she didn't burn the kid immediately. She already had a lot of experience with what this shit was, and maybe something was wrong with her kid. But I digress. I'm not going to go back into Stranger Things too. Yeah, so the story starts with a man on a horse. Was he in a carriage or a horse? I think it was a horse.
Carriage.
Carriage?
He was in the carriage.
Okay. And he arrives at a nice castle on the edge of a land with water around it, whatever you call that.
Quite a drop.
I think it's called a beach.
Yeah.
Is it a beach?
A what?
It's a beach.
A
I think
beach.
it's called a beach.
Life's a beach.
Oh. Oof. Oh, that hurt.
Hidden
My
pun.
chest is contracting.
So he knocks on
I
the
just
door.
love in these movies every time as well because there was like this beautiful matte painting.
Really good matte paintings.
Yeah, with all the castle on the cliff and everything. It was just so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that was a matte painting. I was like, I know that's not real. This set design is fantastic. That's what I was thinking. Like, they may have just, like, built a miniature and just filmed it or something, but it does look more like a painting now that you mention it.
Well, I mean, that's always the sign of a really good matte painting. If it's when you just can't quite tell if it is or isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it looks it, but it might. That's a good use of matte painting.
See, that's the thing, too, about these kinds of movies. It's like, I just, like, the ingenuity of movie making was much stronger back then because they had to do so much more to make what we take for granted, like just taking a picture of a place.
Yeah.
They
There's
actually
one
had an
scene
artist.
that really made me think of that. Oh, sorry. Go on. I'll tell
Yeah,
you. in a sec.
they just had like a guy who paint this picture we need for the movie. It's a Spanish castle on the edge of a land, sort of a beach sort of thing, and he's like, gotcha. And then he gives him the Mega Man 1 box art. No, you got it all wrong. We have to do the Spanish castle. Oh, castle, right. And then, he does that stuff and they film it. And it's just a guy holding the picture, or probably, maybe it's on like a vice or something, and the camera is pointed at it. They get it for sufficient length, and then they just edit that into the movie with sound overlapping to make it seem like it's a seamless part of the movie, is what my assumption is. But that's still, if I'm a little bit wrong, that's still like amazing that the ingenuity of them all to just make those scenes pop out like that.
Yeah,
No,
totally.
it's just really creative.
Yeah, Tom?
There was
movie limitations.
the one scene that I thought it was so cute. Cute is the word I just keep coming back to. He's putting out the candles, and like you can tell, literally there is a guy with the lights must have like barn doors on them or something, and like as he's putting one candle out, the guy lifts the barn door up a little bit. Then the second candle, he pulls it up a bit more, and it's like, it just made me so happy and nostalgic about kind of old cinema.
Yeah.
Like where they'd light a couple of candles and the whole room be illuminated. I think, I can't remember which film it was. It might have been Young Frankenstein where they parody that. Like someone has a really small candle and they light it, or they have like they have something. It's very small light, but they light it and then the entire room is illuminated, like really brightly.
I've seen Young Frankenstein plenty of times, but I never took note of that, and I feel silly.
It might not be that. It might be something. I know I've seen it, though. I know I've seen it parodied.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking it's that just because it would make sense for it to
Yeah,
be.
it makes sense enough.
Could be completely...
I'm not dispelling it at all. I think it makes sense. But yeah, so they have a guy on a horse or a carriage going up a beach to a castle. He knocks on the door. The butler initially refuses him, despite what he says, until someone interjects and then allows him in the house. And it sets the stage for strange things are happening in the castle. And the man is the brother of the wife of the lord of the castle, meandering around. But yeah, he's basically an in-law coming to see. Was he going to see his sister, or is he did he hear of her death?
Yeah, he heard of her death.
Yeah, okay, he heard of her death, and then he shows up to pay his respects and all that kind of stuff. But apparently, she had actually died 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, what the fuck? Why didn't anybody text me?
God damn it, guys, I'm on WhatsApp.
Yeah, have you never heard of Viber? You can use it internationally. It's fine. But no, I mean, honestly, I think that's still a reasonable request, but not by much. Because, if you had a messenger pigeon or like a raven like in Game of Thrones, I'm just not sure that they would fly correctly to where they're supposed to go 100% of the time. So, you'd probably miss a few messages here and there, and it would just be understandable to not be alerted within a 3-month period of time. But yeah, so he shows up, and they try to explain to him that his sister died of fright, heart failure, and it was because, she found the torture room, and she was such a beautiful and gentle and sensible spirit that the idea of torture literally killed her. So
she went insane.
Yeah. So, and then during this whole time, Vincent Price is the husband or the lord of the castle, and he's trying to say, hey, she's dead, and I'm sorry about it. I'm distraught too, and it's just best that you leave. And the brother is like, nah, not gonna find out more about what happened here, because why not? And I thought that was kind of funny, actually. In the script, they ask him, will you be staying the night? In my head, I'm like, well, fuck yeah, he's staying the night. It's a castle. It's shelter. It's a roof over your head. What's he gonna do? Just go outside and stand there until dawn, like it's Skyrim or some shit? What are you doing?
So now I'll just walk back. It's fine. I'll get a nice brisk walk if you're right.
Yeah, I'll go back to England today.
I'm gonna go back to England.
Yeah. So I thought it was a no-brainer that he'd be able to stay, and I marveled at the set piece, because the room they put him in was well decorated, well furnished. It looked lavish. He had a nice bed, a thick-ass book that I don't know if he knew how to read, but he also had a fireplace, and he had a fire going in the fireplace. I was just thinking, man, I don't think that's what it was like, but that must have been top-notch for back then. You have all that space, and it just looked really nice, really well decorated. Yeah. I don't want to repeat that, but it looked great.
I know it did, and what I really like is that it didn't look. A lot of these older films run into that problem where they make stuff that look too clean.
Yeah,
too pristine. It's it wouldn't have been like that. It looks like it. I believe it's been lived in. It doesn't look grotty.
Right.
But it looks like how I would imagine it would look.
Yeah, I mean, they had maids and butlers and stuff to clean the rooms and things, and as long as nobody stayed in it, it would look pretty much the same. It does look a bit dusty, I suppose, but not in a bad way. It looked more like a lived-in kind of way, and I really liked that. The only thing I didn't like was that there was cobwebs on every fucking door.
I want to make an animated GIF of there's a moment when Nicholas walks through a cobweb. He just pulls a face of horror and revulsion with his hands up by his face. I just want to make that an animated GIF, because that's how I feel every time I walk through a cobweb.
Yeah,
I didn't see it.
So,
Let's see if I can.
so
find
yeah,
them.
that night they have dinner, and it's another lavish scene with like plenty of food. It's like a banquet kind of thing, and there's fruit everywhere. There's meat, there's bread or whatever, and then a new character is introduced, and it's the doctor, the physician who said that Elizabeth, Nicholas's wife, was killed of fright. He shows up, and I like this part honestly because now that I knew the end when I was watching the movie. The end of it, you could see on the doctor's face the uncertainty. Like, you could kind of see that he was like, oh shit, this isn't part of the plan. And you can see that like throughout the movie. There's plenty of points where he looks suspicious, but you don't have a reason to suspect him because you haven't seen the end of the movie yet. But he does a really good job of showing suspicious nature when he doesn't actually have to. And I thought that was a well-acted scenario of things. So, but
No, totally.
yeah. So he shows up and like he's like, "Oh, who's that guy?" And Nicholas is like, "It's the brother of Elizabeth," which makes Vincent Price's character Nicholas seem suspicious more so than the doctor, which is a great way to like cast doubt or shade on him, which you're supposed to do throughout the movie. So, I mean, one of the things I want to say about this movie is that it had such great setup and great payoff. Like everything that was present in the movie is in some way paid off at the end of the movie. For example, like the flashbacks and the backstory of Nicholas's father Sebastian and what Sebastian had to go through with his wife and his brother, and all that stuff just comes in at the end of the movie perfectly, and it's just so good for that. You just don't see it very often. Like take the Bye Bye Man for example.
Yeah.
No, take it away from me. Get it out of here. I hate it.
Yeah, get it away. Take it away.
Or just like a lot of movies. I'd say I'm just going to make up a figure, but, like a good 60% of movies. Like, there aren't a whole lot of great movies. Even Arnold movies don't have such great payoffs and setups and stuff. I mean, Total Recall being an exception. That's a fantastic movie. But, I mean, Commando is just a silly bit of fun, really, when you look at it.
Oh yeah. Commando is very silly.
And
I love it.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's fun, but it's mostly fun because of Arnold. It's not really fun because it's a fun movie. If you had Bruce Willis or, I don't know, Dolph Lundgren even, if you had Dolph Lundgren in there instead of Arnold, it wouldn't have been as fun. It might have been like 90s schlock, but you watch it because it's subpar, and it's fun for that. But when you have Arnold in there, you have that charisma and the character, it sells the whole movie. Much like Vincent Price in this movie, his charisma, his character sells the movie no matter what.
Yeah.
I don't know if we even have any stars like that anymore. I think Johnny Depp was kind of like that until he just kept doing the same character over and over again.
Yeah, until he became a bit annoying. I think it's like, come on, Johnny, do something different.
Yeah, I mean, like his bit in the Lone Ranger should have been his opportunity to do something wildly different because he was playing an Indian character, but really he was playing an Indian character who was playing Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I heard that, and they were like, he's like almost doing Jack Sparrow. That's what I heard from him. It was like, it's weird. He's kind of doing a Jack Sparrow. There's a Native American. It's strange.
Yeah, they really should have cast somebody else, but I digress.
Yeah, maybe a Native American.
Yeah, maybe an actual Native American. They certainly have them, I'm sure.
Exactly. It's not like the people are extinct.
Like how cool would it have been if was his name Falcon or Eagle or something like that in Twin Peaks? Hawk. Okay, I knew it was a bird.
Yeah,
if they had that actor do it,
Yeah.
that would have been great. The Twin Peaks fans would have came out the woodwork.
Yeah, they would have done it. The movie would have made money.
Well, she's that Hawk? Oh, fuck yeah, they're there for Hawk. The Lone Ranger being alone off in the distance. Nobody's here to see me. No one cared about the Lone Ranger, period.
No. It's like, who even played? I can't remember the actor that played the Lone Ranger.
Who cares, right?
Exactly. He's so boring.
Yeah, so it's weird that Johnny Depp took a side stance in that movie. But again, it's just the power of the character and charisma of certain actors, and Vincent Price is no exception. It's kind of hard to breathe life into this story without actually watching it, though. So I'm going to try to skip ahead a bit, I think.
Yeah, no, I think it is because there's not, really. I'll actually, once we've explained the plot, in its entirety, I'm going to, I told you this just before we started the cast, that I watched it on Amazon and I rented it. And obviously each film has like a little mini synopsis, like, it's, Return of the Living Dead would be like, zombies come back to life and terrorize the living, something like that. And this one, literally, all three major plot points it had written in a short little paragraph, three-line
Yeah.
paragraph. But we'll get to it at the end. But yeah, because it's not. It's weird to really word this right. It's not got that much development, but at the same time, there's still a lot going on. There's lots of little things.
Yeah.
But there's it. Yeah, you're right. You just have to kind of watch it.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to explain in detail because you can explain it in detail in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
Couldn't you really?
Like that synopsis you were talking about could have just been, a lord's wife is not killed, but she suddenly passes away under mysterious circumstances, and then like a man comes to knock on the door to investigate. Oh, well, that's it. That's all I needed to know to watch the movie, and I think I would have watched the movie with that and Vincent Price.
Yeah.
That would have been it. Cool. But instead, like the synopsis you got was the whole movie, the ending and everything. It's like, wait, what? But
yeah, I mean, luckily, I didn't read that until we'd already watched it.
Yeah, because it does lead the audience correctly down this path. Like you really you don't know what's going to happen until the very end. Really, it's so cleverly done. But anyway, the doctor shows up and he also decides to stay. I think it's a rainy night now. Like it's one of those classic scenarios where it's like it's raining and nobody wants to go out driving, so they're going to stay the night. And you have like the maid service still, the butler is still there, there's food, there's shelter, there's warmth. The only thing that's unsettling is like the real circumstances of Elizabeth's death, because dying of fright is such a weird thing to die from, even in this time, I think. And now that you have a doctor on set who's like, yeah, she totally died of fright. Weird, huh?
Yeah, it's a bit strange, isn't it? Like, yeah, really?
Yeah, and Nicholas was like, oh, it's all my fault because my dad was into torture a whole lot, and I really should have just maybe I should have just removed all the torture stuff in the castle, but I just told her not to go in there, but her curiosity, it led her down there, and then she died from the fright. So throughout the rest of the night, you have these weird occurrences. I think the first one was the first one the harpsichord? Yeah.
Yes.
Which
yes.
sounded so Castlevania. I love that scene.
Yeah.
I was like, the imagery and the music is such like a live action Castlevania scene. Oh my god, I love it. I love Castlevania. It's a video game, if you don't know. But it's like, someone's playing the harpsichord, and Nicholas cannot play the harpsichord. He's never played it in his life, as his sister so helpfully mentions out loud. And so it has to be someone else, right? It has to be. But when you go to the harpsichord, there's no one there except for some pretty bit of costume jewelry, but it's also supposed to look like a really expensive sapphire ring, and everyone identifies it as Elizabeth's ring. So how did that get there? Suspicious. And then I think later on, Elizabeth's room is destroyed by somebody inside it, but the door on the front was locked, so it couldn't have been anybody who didn't have the key. And then I think before that, the maid hears somebody say her name, but it sounded like Elizabeth.
Yeah, like whispers. Yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah,
that would freak me out. It's like, hey, I bet.
Yeah, so it's setting up this haunting. Like Elizabeth died, but now she's haunting the castle. And you get multiple people seeing and hearing the same thing. So it's no longer like, you're crazy, you just need some rest, or maybe you had a bad bit of potato or some silly thing like that. So now that's there's a mystery. And again, the brother was not supposed to be there. What's his name? His character name?
Oh, Francis.
Francis, yeah, you're right. Francis was not supposed to be there. So he's really the powerful force of investigation in this matter, because Nicholas is going crazy. His sister is like, my brother's going crazy. The doctor is like, yeah, you're going crazy. Here, take this. And it was supposed to go throughout the entire night that way. But Francis was not going to be stopped. He was like, I will find out what's happening in this castle. It has something to do with my sister. There's no reason for this stuff to be happening. And as such, he investigates the maid. He investigates the scenarios, and he comes to the conclusion, after coming to Elizabeth's room and discovering a secret door that leads right into Nicholas's room, that Nicholas is probably the one who's causing all this shit for whatever sick reason he could come up with. To which Nicholas is like, shit, am I?
I love that. He's like, maybe I am doing it, and I don't even mean to be doing it. Maybe I'm just so insane.
Yeah, I love that too. Yeah, because it's like
feel so
you have
bad
the initial formulaic response of "No, it's not me. You have to believe me. Everyone has to believe me." And he's the only sane man in the room, kind of scenario, to where he's like, "Nope,
Yeah.
I must be going insane then. The only explanation for it, I have to be crazy, unless we exhume Elizabeth's body and it's not there, and then we'll know Elizabeth is alive." So it leads to that, where they go down to the cellar, and in typical Poe fashion, the lady was buried behind a brick wall. They took mining picks to break down the bricks, and they kicked in the bricks and got in there. There's like a coffin with a beautiful stone sculpture on top of it. They open the coffin, and there's a body that's been long dead inside the coffin.
Yeah.
I think I missed a part though, because there was evidence that like the coffin was scarred, like someone tried to claw out of it.
Yeah, I think it was her the way she died as well, the way her hands were like reaching up.
Yeah.
Because the doctor says, he feels bad because he thinks he buried her alive.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if it's just before then or afterwards, because I know before that time you see the backstory of what his father did to his wife and his brother, because he thought they were adulterers, so he killed them, and you hear then he saw Nicholas saw his father kill his mum, Nicholas's mum, and I think it's before they exhume the body that you find out that that's not actually what happened. What happened was his father buried Nicholas's mum alive.
Yeah.
And he thinks that he's done the same thing.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad for him the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like, I hope... Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's like, Nicholas,
It
no.
just got worse. Yeah, that's important.
And he just runs off saying, true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I compared it with my fiance and I were watching it together, and I compared it to Skullface and Metal Gear Solid 5 going, "Who?" It's like, true. Such a lust for revenge. Who's done this? No, right?
Skullface.
Another,
Hey, we've got this really cool character.
Yeah, another strong character with great charisma, just kind of misused, but whatever.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Bastards.
yeah. So yeah, you're right, and that's an example of what I mentioned before about the setups and the payoffs. Like, they give you enough time to get into the story, understand the circumstances and the situation, then they reveal that plot element. Like, oh, this is next too, and then they have a payoff after that. Like, now you understand why Nicholas is actually going crazy, instead of it just being, I think my wife is dead. Shit. I might have done it with my torture stuff. Shit, I'm going crazy now. Shit, which doesn't sound like Vincent Price at all.
For want of a better metaphor, it's kind of it's like a mystery onion as well, because things kind of like there are veils and they keep being kind of slowly peeled away. Like, he shows up and they say, oh, she died, it was something in her blood, and then that gets peeled back. No, actually, she didn't die in her blood, it was a shock. Okay. And then so like everything, you kind of get these stories told to you, and then you actually get but actually it was this, and then and so it kind of like, I don't know, just you feel like you're moving towards a core, that there's going to be kind of like the mystery will be revealed eventually. Yeah, and it will make sense, so that even all the way back when they were hinting their first hints, you could kind of see the elements in there that would lead to the kind of the truth.
Yeah, and it's perfectly written in that way, because they have just enough layers that they put in the way of the ending, because the ending, we already know the ending because of the way the Poe story goes, or how they're going to use the ending. But like, they put so many layers in there, but it's just the right amount, so you're not going like, okay, really now, what is really happening? You're not getting frustrated, but you're along for the ride, because Francis, who's getting frustrated, justifiably so, because like people keep fucking lying to him, and he has a sword. He'll go get it, damn it. Don't try this motherfucker. He'll get you. He'll stick you good. Anyway, so yeah, all that stuff is very important to lead up to this.
Yeah, it's not the word is convoluted. It's not convoluted at all.
Right, it's
like
not.
Everything feels kind of like like it's there for a reason. Like you say, it's kind of like the whole Chekhov's gun thing, where you get introduced a thing in the first act and it pays off in the third act.
Yeah.
So
after that, though, they realize that she is dead, and I think Nicholas must be
That
crazy.
was a gnarly dead body, by the way. That
Yeah.
was awesome.
When I first saw the movie, I was like, "There's no way. There's no way she died too soon for her body to look like that." But then I remembered after watching this movie, I was like, "Oh yeah, it's supposed to be 3 months ago." I don't really know how a body would look in 3 months. I'm gonna assume that's what it looks like. Like they set up enough to make me believe that must be her body. Is what I'm trying to say. Which I thought that was like the only loophole in the story until I realized that I was wrong. As usual. So I'm trying to remember what happens after that, because Nicholas goes crazy and he goes upstairs. They put him to bed. They give him more of wine or whatever, and I think the doctor takes Francis.
Yes,
and
lots
the
of
sister.
medicinal alcohol in this film.
Yeah, everybody drinking, everybody getting tipsy.
everybody.
Everybody in the castle getting tipsy.
Welcome to Spain. Have a drink.
Yeah,
For your nerves.
Drink.
for your nerves. Those blasted nerves. What are you going to do if you don't have a drink for your nerves? You're just going to get nervous, I guess. God damn, that's terrible. What a horrible way to go, being nervous. Glad,
Suck to be alive.
I'm glad I have a drink. Yeah, so I think there's some exposition going on, and I think they all either... Do they go to bed? I think some sort of like time lapses here where Nicholas is... he leaves his bedroom unaccompanied and goes down to the torture room.
I think it's at nighttime. He kind of hears her and then he sees her.
Yeah. He hears her, and it's leading him down to the torture room.
That moment when he goes to where she was buried and it opens was genuinely really unsettling.
Yeah.
Because the way it was shot, where a figure comes out but you can't see his face.
Yeah,
It's just like kind of eclipsed in shape. It's almost like silhouetted almost at times. It's really creepy.
Yeah, like I was watching it with my mom, and I was like, "Damn, they're doing really good with what little they have. They're doing so good. Man, I'm so proud of these people."
See, it's creative because it didn't. I looked up how much it costs. I mean, for its time, it might be a lot, but it only cost $300,000. It's not a lot.
No,
I mean,
I saw on the
61,
trivia it only
but
took 15 days to film as well.
That's impressive.
That's professionalism. That's what that is.
Yeah, that is getting it done.
Yeah,
getting
it
done.
done. One take, every take. You know what I'm saying? That's the power of the price. I don't know. I don't know. I really like Vincent Price, and I don't know him. I've never seen him. I've never read a biography. I wonder if he has an audio tape autobiography. I will definitely look that up later on. What if he's still reading it today?
I'm not really dead.
This is actually a live stream. I'll tell stories of my life.
I'm doing that live streaming thing, you young children do.
You
youngsters.
But I'm using a crystal ball.
I would listen to this shit.
I know.
Just talk at me, Prince.
Yeah.
Talk at me.
I mean, damn. But yeah, speaking of talking, he hears his wife calling from beyond the grave and calling him down to the cellar, to the torture chamber, or to where her grave is, and then she climbs out of it. Which is amazing. Like, oh my god, before there was a desiccated corpse, and now it's her, and now you, as the viewer, have no idea what's real. My fiance even said, I have no idea what's real right now. You know?
It's like, are we all crazy?
Yeah, like, are we seeing Nicholas's eyes, his perception? Is this crazy? Or, like, is the rest of the cast going to show up, and then Elizabeth is going to be gone, and we're going to have to go, oh shit, that was crazy. He was just, seeing things. But, so Elizabeth comes out of the coffin, and sarcophagus, sure, comes out and starts to walk towards him, and Nicholas has just had it at this point. He's had it. He doesn't know what's going on anymore. He was so sure she was dead like 5 minutes ago when they saw the corpse, but he knows that he heard things from her previous to that, and now he's seeing her alive after that. So he just has no idea what to believe, and he basically runs from her. He's like, get the
Yeah, I
fuck
feel
away
so
from
bad.
me. Get the fuck away from me. I was looking for you, but now I found you, and I don't want you around me. I'm going to get out of here. And he runs towards, like, the torture chamber, and I think because she's...
Takes a nasty
Yeah,
fall.
because she's guiding him in that direction. He takes a nasty fall, and, she's, like, standing over him, looking at him, and I think that's when the doctor kind of shows up, because they had agreed to split up to find Nicholas through the house, and the doctor knew where Nicholas went. So he's like, you guys go upstairs, and, this floor here, I'm going to check downstairs. And he runs downstairs.
Yeah, I picked up on
that.
And he's like, yeah, I'll you two stay up here. I'll look downstairs.
Yeah. And you can see it, like, at
I'll
that
go
moment,
basement,
because you have enough information to suspect him, that he hurries to the basement. He knows what's going on,
He goes right there.
So,
Well, I mean, that moment when Nicholas falls down the stairs, and there's another genuinely creepy moment where her face comes out of the shadows and she's just smiling.
yeah.
I'm like, it's creepy.
Yeah. Like, she's like,
And poor old Nicholas.
I've done it.
Just, and poor Nicholas just snaps and he's gone.
Yep.
Nicholas is gone. I mean, Nicholas is dead by that point, really.
Yeah.
Nicholas
is.
Yeah, poor Nicholas. I feel so bad for him.
Yeah. Like, Vincent Price has, like, those puppy dog eyes, kind of. Like, even though he's, like, the master of horror, but he also has, like a strong face of appeal. Like, please don't, please, 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 that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he looks wounded. Just, to his core.
It was like, I mean, it's going back a bit before. It's when they find the corpse in the sarcophagus, and he realizes, or he thinks at that point, that he did bury her alive. And when he breaks down in front of his sister, like, really upset me. He's like, I did it, I killed her. And he's just like, this, because he was quite a tall bloke, wasn't he? He was quite tall.
Yeah, he's monstrous.
Are you talking about the bit where he has, like, his face in her stomach and he's just, like, crying?
Yeah, and he's just crying. I was like, that's horror. He just breaks.
Yeah.
Like, really, really upset me.
It's like, he's a nice guy.
I completely believe it.
He did the paintings,
Oh, and they destroy the painting as well.
Oh, I know. Yeah, Vincent
that's
Price
horrible.
was 6'4".
Fuck.
Yeah. He's 4 inches taller than I am.
6'4".
You could look down at me.
Jesus. He was a tall lad. But yeah, like, it really, it does, because he's so tall, and then to watch him just kind of break down and just gets on his knees and he's just crying into his sister's stomach, essentially.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I feel really bad for her.
Yeah.
And at this point I did as well, but at that point Nicholas is dead, really. There's a body there, and it's alive, but Nicholas is gone.
Yeah. Because Elizabeth comes down and she's like, whoopee! I killed him.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Victory! And the doctor shows up and he has no surprise on his face whatsoever. He knew exactly what was going on the whole time, helping to lead Nicholas down to the cellar so they could essentially murder him and take their love and the castle to boot,
Yeah. To
all the money, all the location, everything. So, yeah. He joins her and he's like, I thought I told you to wait one more day. She's like, I've waited long enough.
It's like, you bitch.
Yeah.
It's like, you fucking
Yeah,
bitch. You're
complete
evil.
bitch.
Yeah, Francis was going to
You guys
leave.
are evil.
Francis was going to leave tomorrow morning in like a few hours.
Yeah.
Once he was gone.
And she, like,
Sorry.
and also, she gives no fucks about her brother. She's like, when's my brother going? I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Really spells.
Like, these two are.
It really spells out like how evil she was. You know?
How cold.
Like, even in the flashbacks with Vincent Price doing things for her, that's all you ever really get, is Vincent Price bringing her breakfast in the morning, and she would sit for him while he painted her, but that's basically like her just being like, paint me. No, not like your French girls, paint me.
Give me your
And then
name.
she plays the harpsichord, and that's probably something she just did for fun anyway. Like, she's surrounded by wealth. The only nagging bit about this lifestyle that she has is this guy who keeps fucking white knighting around her, So she...
something
Treating
I
her
didn't...
like she's good.
On the first time, I've only watched the movie once. On the way through the movie, there was a bit where he was kind of describing to her brother all the things he did with his wife, aka that guy's sister. So he was saying, like, oh, I painted her and she played the harpsichord. And then he says something along the lines of, I spent many, like, intimate moments with her and with our friend, the doctor.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time laughing, like, yeah, that's really kind of weird that, like, you're talking about like intimate moments with your wife, and you're like, Doctor is right there. But that makes total sense with the reveal.
Yeah,
You know?
it really does.
Always a...
Because, I mean, honestly, like, third wheel situations, and I'm never 100% correct, but third wheel situations are almost always like that in some small way. Like the platonic friendship is always kind of weird. You never really... It's like two guys, one girl. The girl basically has options now. That's how that kind of stuff works. Especially back then when people were more naive, I think. Nowadays, it's like everyone's got texts and all that kind of stuff, and it's weird. But I digress. Like, she's claimed her victim, and she will have her house and her freedom, and she will live with, I guess, the better guy. I don't really know. You don't really get much of a character out of the Doctor. You don't know what kind of a person he is, except that he's totally cool with this idea of murdering his friend.
Yeah.
To get the house.
Not just murdering his friend, psychologically breaking his friend over the course of 3 months.
Yeah, wow, yeah, it was 3 months, wasn't it?
That is just nasty shit.
Yeah,
it's evil.
that is some deep evil. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, it's 3 months because like they buried her. That's the point when she died, and she was supposed to have been killed 3 months prior. So like, yeah, for 3 months she's just moving around the castle. Probably sneaking food or something, waiting. So you can kind of get the understanding of why she didn't want to wait one more day. She just wanted to have this done now. Huh. But yeah, so Nicholas dies and Sebastian lives. She sees, like she's down there looking at Nicholas, and then the Doctor's there, and she's all up in Nicholas's face, and Nicholas just sort of like fades out, and Sebastian wakes up, and he starts referring to Elizabeth as his wife's name. I can't remember her name.
Isabella?
Isabella, yes, as Isabella, and now the Doctor is named Bartholomew, which is his brother's name. Yeah. So he's like lapsed into that story of his father who tortured and killed his brother and his wife because of adultery and stuff.
Coping.
Yeah, that's how he copes.
Yeah, it's like a coping mechanism. Yeah.
Revenge.
Vengeance.
Yeah,
it's like that all comes back because he saw it all. He saw it all as a kid, and now that's just taken over. And I love the way he just, obviously his performance just completely changes, and it's just the way he just starts laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I've got you both now. He's like, why are you laughing? Yeah. Oh, no.
And he's a monstrous guy, so it really works. Like that Bartholomew or the Doctor or whatever you want to call him wouldn't just try to like beat him up. He's like, oh, shit. Yeah, he gave it a shot, but, he's just such a monster. Vincent Price is such a big tall monster.
Posing. Yeah, like just manhandles and just bashes his head against the wooden frame.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like, right, you're unconscious now. I'm going to lock you in the Iron Maiden.
Yeah, which was so cool. Like, he locks her in the Iron Maiden, and then I think that's when Francis and his sister show up, and they're like, oh, fuck. Francis, wait, not his sister, just Francis. It was just Francis.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he even overpowers Francis, and because, like, Francis doesn't know what's going on. He's like, sir, I found you. How wonderful, smack.
And he refers to him as Bartholomew as well. He's like, you've come back.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
That's it, because the Doctor runs into the title pit, doesn't it? And just falls and goes, oh, shit!
Yeah. I mean, I hope that dungeons weren't made that way on purpose, because so many people must have fallen. Mind the steps. It's also dark as fuck. Like, how did they do it?
Yeah, good for you. Light all the candles every day.
Yeah. Like, we have a Renaissance festival here every year, and there's a guy who won the lottery, no joke, and with this money, he decided to build a castle. So he actually hosts the Renaissance festival on his land with his castle. It's called Castle Guinevere, and it's basically like 2 tall towers and like a gatehouse in between, sort of thing. And he offers tours. You can go in there and check it all out, and it's a modern living space. He lives in that castle. It is pretty cool. But in that castle, like, the stairs are all like built between 2 walls. So you have the outer wall and you have the inner wall, and you have the stairs in between. So you have plenty of things to hold on to go up the stairs. Yeah. But in the case of the Pit and the Pendulum, there's nothing to hold on to when you go down those stairs, and they're curvy and treacherous.
Yeah, they're curvy as well.
Yeah. And if it's like moss covered or just slick for any reason, you're fucked. You don't just go down the stairs and have a bad hurt, like a hurt ass or anything. You might just topple off the side and break your head wide open. And I mean, if that happened once or twice, you'd think like, okay, guys, we can't keep doing this. We need to like put some wood that we can hold on to or something that's just sort of like there. So you have something like a handrail. Yeah, a handrail. There we go. That you can go down and hold on to it. Or maybe they're just like, nah, don't be a pussy. What are you, afraid of steps? God damn. So, but yeah, so back to the story. Like, he puts Isabella, or Elizabeth, or his wife, into the Iron Maiden after he knocks out the doctor. The doctor runs away after waking up and falls into the pit. Francis shows up. He knocks out Francis because he's Vincent goddamn Price. And
he's big as shit.
He straps him down onto this table, like this stone table. And there's a pit all around the stone table, very much like Mortal Kombat 1's pit, like spikes and things, you know. And there's like a stone bridge that can be raised or lowered to get to that center platform. So you can lower it so that even if the person gets off of the platform, they have to jump over the pit. You know, but either way, they're still strapped down. And of course, hanging over them is the pendulum, which is a giant, like, razor-sharp axe blade that swings left and right and goes down lower and lower. And you just see the blade coming down to your midsection, and it'll just slice through you. And it won't, like, hit your vitals, really. You'll still be in immense amounts of pain as it slices through you once, twice, 3 times. Oh, I should have said once, twice, 2 times a lady or something like that. And
3 times a
lady. And you'd just be blood and viscera all over the place, but you'd still be plenty conscious to see it happen. So it's like the ultimate torture device that Sebastian had conceived of. And he's activating it. He's playing around with it, pulling chains, yanking levers, and just having a good old fucking time. About to kill Bartholomew, or so he thinks. Before, Francis is like, help, help, help. Which is enough for his sister to be like, is that Francis yelling help? I'm going to beat on this door with my open palm and then just go get the butler.
I do like, to be fair, I mean, I do like her reaction when she hears the pendulum moving and her reaction is, oh shit, and just sprints to the bar. Like, oh dear. And poor Maximilian's like, hi, I've been a background character the whole time. Come and help me save the day. What?
Sure.
And he's still got the fire poker in his hand and she like grabs him and runs off.
I mean,
like,
I like that too. I like that that the butler wasn't the butler wasn't the one who did it, which was nice. The butler is also like pretty handy. Like, he's capable. Like, he brings the fire poker. I don't think he was like, I'm just gonna, oh shit, I'm being carried away, but I'm gonna keep a hold of this fire poker. So if I die, I'll go to heaven holding the fire poker. Yeah. Okay. Not like a Lego brick or a fleshlight. And he's
call back.
Yeah, he's basically armed. You should like put on the YouTube thing, refer back to issue number, like a comic book, when you want to refer back to things, to a previous podcast where we were talking about fleshlights. Anyway, our proudest moments, our proudest moment for sure. And he goes to help whatever her name is to take out Sebastian, Nicholas, slash in between there. And he succeeds. It seems like he just comes down there and he works it over, and Elizabeth yanks the lever and stops the pendulum, and like everything's fine. Because Bartholomew he doesn't die. Like the butler doesn't die. He takes care of business, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he throws Vincent Price into the pit. So the pit has Vincent Price and the doctor in it. And they save Francis, and they leave, and this is like the best part of the movie. She goes,
I loved it.
She goes, no one will ever come here ever again, as they walk out the door, leaving the torture room, and the camera quickly pans to Isabella or Elizabeth still in the Iron Maiden, still be able to be saved, and no one will ever fucking find her until it's way too late.
Yeah, I loved it. And then I want it to just cut to black, and it goes, this is a PSA by like the Anti-Cheating League. Don't do adultery, it's really shit.
Don't lie about being buried alive.
Yeah.
But it's great. The ultimate irony is that she gets buried alive.
Yeah.
Essentially, she gets buried alive because no one's going to go in there again.
Nope.
And she's trapped, so she is technically buried alive.
Yeah, and she's buried painfully alive, too. Like, she's on spikes. She's just going to bleed out. Like, none of her vitals are hit. She's just going to bleed out in that room.
Yeah, and she deserves it because she was...
Yeah.
She broke poor Nicholas, who was lovely. She wanted to give him a hug. It's going to be alright.
Yeah, there are many fish in the sea, man. You can find somebody else.
But that whole final moment is just so great, like especially with the pendulum, because as it gets lower and lower, and they're rushing to get there, it's so, the anticipation is just so on edge, and it's like, oh, the tension is painful. It's like gripped me in a
and then it, like, his shirt gets ripped because that's like the first pass. And I was thinking, like, if I was him, what would I do? Flatten my stomach.
Yeah, you say that when we sat there, and I'm watching it going, suck your gut in, suck your gut.
I mean, even that won't stop the pendulum, but at the same time, it's like one more, two more, maybe three more swipes before it gets you. Yeah.
I liked the little bit of detail, like, he passes out because of the obviously you would, because you'd be, oh, Jesus Christ. And you're like, it's okay, at least he's passed out. And then he wakes up again, you're like, no!
Yeah, like, that's the other defense that's trying to pass out. Like, maybe if I just go to sleep, it'll be all over.
I just, fuck it. Oh, no, I'm like, no! Yeah. It's close.
I need sedative! Man. But, like the movie was good, fun. But when it had that final scene where it showed her in the Iron Maiden, I was like, this movie is great. This movie is so great because, like you said, like, she sets up her own death by pretending to be dead, by pretending to be buried alive, and then she fucking gets it, you know?
Yeah, ultimate irony.
Ultimate.
I love it when any villain in any kind of narrative, like, you know, any kind of fiction, like, you know, book, game, film, TV show, it's always so satisfying when it's not just the villain dying that's satisfying, it's when they get a really justifiable, you deserve this. Like, you know, it's like all the villains in Game of Thrones always have really good deaths because they have it coming, and it's never like in some films where they just shoot them once and they're dead and you go, they should have suffered because they're evil. They deserve, like, you know, like especially some of them in Game of Thrones have really horrible deaths, and you just sitting there going, good, you deserve.
Yes, karma is a bitch.
Exactly.
Sounded like Duke Nukem.
When I was so smug. Yeah. Bitch. I was so smug in, I think it was season 5 or 6, when one of the villains in particular, I called how he was going to die, and I was like, he deserves this, yes. But yeah, hers is, I was so happy and her eyes are pleading. Like, yeah, well, you know, you had this coming. You are evil, and no one's going to save you because you do not deserve being saved. You genuinely broke a really nice guy. Yeah. You destroyed this guy who adored you and worshipped you, and Nicholas was really nice. Like, even when he's talking about his father, like, you can tell he hates his father. You can tell he did not like his father because he saw him as like a madman that killed people and tortured them. I think was it the Spanish Inquisition?
Yeah, it was the Spanish Inquisition. He was like the top investigator or whatever who loved his work. Yeah,
and he's like, I hated him for it, you know, and you can tell he hates him, and he was a good guy, and they just absolutely break this really nice guy, and they have it coming. Yeah. They deserve it. Absolutely deserve it. And it's a satisfying ending, because, you know, I felt bad for Nicholas, like, when he does die, but we were talking about it afterwards, and, you know, we said how, but as soon as they break him, Nicholas is dead, like, he's gone.
Yeah.
Nicholas was never coming back. Like, his mind was so broken.
He becomes a monster, basically. You know.
Yeah, it fractures and becomes a completely different person. I'm like, yeah, he wasn't coming back. So they absolutely deserve what happens to him. Not Francis, like, poor Francis.
Yeah, he's like,
I'm trying to help.
I just wanted to see my sister. I just wanted to see my sister. Where is she? That's like the best part, is that he saw his sister's corpse desiccated in the coffin and doesn't know any different. So for him,
yeah, that's the beautiful thing, is no one even knows to look for her, because they all think she's dead. It wasn't, they didn't get the revelation that she was still alive.
Yeah,
you know,
that was the best.
They just think poor old Nicholas just went mad.
Yeah, and killed the doctor for no reason.
Yeah. Doctor had it coming.
Like, they didn't check the Iron Maiden. Why would you? What if there was a body in there? You know.
But I love that. Just before he locks her in there, when he just like grabs her by the throat, and he's talking about how I'm going to make sure he's like basically saying, I'm going to torture you for a long time, and you're going to feel a lot of pain. And like, Jesus Christ, he means that. It's like, wow. It's like, I love it, because Vincent Price can go from so nice, and you feel pity for him, you feel sorry for him, and he can switch from that and then just go really evil really quickly, and you're like, aha, this big tall scary man's going to talk to you. Just, you know, it sums up how good he was, really, playing characters like that. Really emotive face as well, really emotive face.
Like,
super amazing.
Like when you have Vincent Price and you pair it like compared to the other actors in the movie, Francis's actor was really good. The Doctor could have done I think a little bit more, but he definitely served his function. The only person who was like really super wooden was Nicholas's sister, who just was unfazed by everything. Just
like he's mad.
yeah, I think.
I know my brother's
Yeah, exactly. We're not going to bother getting the body out either. We're just going to leave all of this down here forever and just never speak of this. You know? Like, it's going to stink eventually. It's going to smell really bad down there. And it'll start to permeate the rest of the castle. And you're going to have flies. So many flies. Why are there flies in the kitchen? Oh, because there's 3 dead people in the basement. That's what that's all about.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, they just leave. They go, well, Nicholas and the Doctor are dead. Well, we're going to lock this room and no one's...
Yeah. Someone's going to be like, where's the Doctor? He was supposed to be here at such place to do Doctor things. Last place he came to was here. Where is he? Oh, don't look in the cellar.
Like 100 years later, like the Descendants, like, we're going to go, what the fuck?
They should do a sequel to this movie. Those corpses are still there.
Well, if we're going the aliens route, it would be the pits and the pendulums.
It's just a room full of pits and swinging pendulums sideways and left and right and front and back.
Yeah, shit just got real.
I don't.
This time it's war.
Yeah, this time it's personal.
This time it's personal. I can't do a Vincent Price or shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. Like, nobody can do Vincent Price. Though there was this one comedian who did a really fantastic job doing an impersonation of Vincent Price. And he was saying something like, he's talking about like his assistant Raoul, because of course he would have an assistant named Raoul. And he was like, and this is my assistant Raoul. Our relationship need not be specified.
I think I might have heard that. That really rings a bell. I'm sure I've heard that, even if it's just a clip. Well, we were saying earlier that if there's like any kind of like audio narration film or anything, I was on his Wikipedia page, his filmography and all that stuff. He did do some radio stuff. He did a show, a horror mystery radio series, serial on BBC.
Oh, okay.
In the 1970s, called The Price of Fear.
Oh, fucking awesome.
Yeah, I think he was the host and star of the show, and I think he narrated them all. And it was like 22 episodes of short stories. One of them was written by Roald Dahl.
Oh yeah, that's believable though.
Yeah,
Roald Dahl did all those kind of like adult stories, like Tales of the Unexpected, or
I think he did. Yeah, he might have done stuff like that. But yeah. So I think tomorrow I'm gonna, for my listening pleasure, I'm gonna see if because I'm sure someone has. I'm gonna see if these are on YouTube.
That sounds good.
Because I'm just going to sit at work and have Vincent Price tell me stories.
Like,
I can do that.
Just like you snuggle into bed and you turn it on and be like, take me away, Vincent Price. Let me tell you a story of murder and betrayal. Yeah, yes, please, yes.
Do it, Vincent.
These are my unicorns and my rainbows.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. But yeah, so sorry to hijack that, but yeah, I love this. I really like this movie. It was great.
Yeah.
I had so much fun watching it.
It was just a really kind of classic.
Yeah, really classic, haunted. Is it haunted? It was a classic Poe story.
Yeah, like I remember the fall of the House of Usher was something like this. Where, you have the same setup, you have somebody coming to see somebody, and that person's like, oh, shit's crazy here, don't come here. But he stays there anyway, and it turns out that, like, the person's sister is actually still alive, but also kind of a ghoul. Like, not actually, like, I was playing a trick on you, but she's like, I'm going to murder you, and I'm beyond death. I'm like, fuck! That's awesome! Is there a movie on that? I'd love to watch that.
I think there is.
I think Roger Corman did that as well. I don't know if Price was involved, but
yeah, that does ring a bell actually. I think he did do House. I think it was just called House of Usher. I think maybe.
Yeah, House of Usher, 1960. Roger Corman. Yeah.
Yeah, year before. Damn, yeah, he did both. Vincent Price is in that.
Is he?
Oh, cool.
Holy shit. Yeah, holy shit.
I'm watching that tonight.
I'm definitely have to try and track that down at some point. Holy shit!
Oh yeah, I have to track it down.
Man,
It's so weird. Like the internet makes you feel like you own everything.
Yeah,
but
it's
just
weird.
don't. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to find that somehow.
Looks like it was well received at the time. So, oh yeah, definitely have to watch that. Vincent Price stars. Yes, he stars as Roderick.
Oh, it's on Amazon.
Gotta
Amazon for $3. $3 well spent.
Fuck yes. Oh yeah, I'll get that. But yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed this. I'm really glad you picked this because it was a really nice, not nice, but it's nice to watch an older horror film like this, and
It's a
for it still
it's
to
a
hold
real
up.
palate cleanser,
It's
you know, when you think about it, like all of the schlock horror stuff we've been watching lately. And I'm not really holding it against you guys, not really. I mean, I'm enjoying the fun of exploring horror stuff with you guys. It's just that at the same time, it's like, oh, this is so dumb sometimes. But I mean, on the other hand, I told my coworker the entire story of Dead Alive. And by the end of it, he's like, I don't even remember how we got here. It's like, you've told me the short story of like 15 different movies. Are these all in the same movie? I'm like, yeah, it's fucking insane, man. He's like, God damn.
It's like you should probably just watch it. It's probably just easier.
Yeah, it's easier to understand if you just watch it. And like, yeah, you do have to like open your mind a little bit and just accept. For me, it's still very difficult to understand that Peter Jackson, thank you. Names today, I'm just so bad at it. Peter Jackson was like, yes, this is a good idea. Yes, I'm going to fund this or have someone fund it, and I'm going to cast it, and I'm going to take shots, and we're going to do take after take until we get that farting organ mass down right. You know? Like, I would try it, it didn't work out, throw it away. It's like, get that out of here. We're not doing that shit.
Oh, before we leave the movie, I just want to say I'm looking at quotes on IMDb, and I just need to get like a YouTube clip of this to just listen to occasionally, because like this is fucking incredible. So I'll just read it verbatim, but although I won't do it justice compared to how Vincent Price delivered it. Do you know where you are, Bartholomew? I'll tell you where you are. You are about to enter hell, Bartholomew. Hell. The netherworld, the infernal region, the abode of the damned, the place of torment, pandemonium, abandon, Tophet, Gehenna, Narak, the pit, and the pendulum. It's just fucking epic.
It's great. Like, just stand up and just applaud.
Well done.
Awesome.
Well done. Oh man.
Oh, so good. So is it my choice now?
It is.
It is my choice. Well, you know. So I've been thinking about it a lot. I wasn't sure what to go for. So obviously, this is a nice palate cleanser. You know, we've done a lot of violent stuff. So I thought we'd keep it nice and quite low key. And I thought so for next week we could watch Videodrome.
Yay! I'm glad we talked about this, and I wanted to watch it again, and this is the perfect excuse.
I don't know what this is.
We'll keep it nice and clean.
Is this bad? Am I supposed to be like, no?
It's good.
Okay.
It's a David Cronenberg horror film, science fiction horror film.
Have you ever seen any of his other movies, Chris, like The Fly or?
Oh, okay.
Scanners, Shivers. He did as well. He's really good with body horror. His stuff is just so just surreal at times, and it's a weird movie. I can see why it wasn't that well received at the time in terms of making its money back, but it's quite an experience. But it's a good movie. It's really good. It's very surreal, and it is quite violent at times. But I think the rest of the movie itself kind of makes up for it, and it's not violent for violence sake, like say Dead Alive or Brain Dead. The violence is a part of it's a part of the theme of the movie as well. So
and it's got Debbie Harry in it from
Blondie. Oh, well, that sells it.
And James Woods.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh, there we go. That's not bad.
Before James Woods went mad. It's good. I really, really like it, and I've been looking for a reason to watch it again because I've got the nice fancy special edition that Arrowhead did for the anniversary of the movie. Same people that I got the really nice Blu-ray of Zombie Flesh Eaters from. They do really good stuff, and I recently they did a re-release. They did a Blu-ray re-release of The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, and again the box set they did for it, like this box is just absolutely gorgeous. It's got artwork and all these other little extras. They get it. They understand cult movies and they put a lot of love and care into it. Because I know people will treasure the shit out of it. You know, it's limited run, so it gives me an excuse to watch Videodrome.
Videodrone? D-R-O-N-E?
No.
Drome.
Oh,
M-E.
Drome. Okay. All right, Dan.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm
do you know
watching.
what? It's funny you mention Arrowhead, Matt, because I'm looking at I looked at Pit and the Pendulum on Amazon before I watched it, obviously, and I saw that there was a Blu-ray, and I wanted to get it, but I, wouldn't have come here in time and everything else. And the art is really nice on the box set, and I've just thought that art looks kind of like the art from the Zombie Flesh Eaters one that you showed me, and yeah, it is another Arrowhead video. So they put out Pit and Pendulum on Blu-ray as well.
Yeah, they really. I just really appreciate how even like some of the lesser cult films from like the 80s and the 70s as well, they still have really nice like box art.
Yeah, the box art for
put a
Pit
lot
and
of care
Pendulum
into
is awesome.
Yeah, they're really good at that shit. So, but yeah, so that's my pick. So get ready to have your minds warped.
Yes, I remember it being
insanity as well. So
kind of not batshit, but just kind of you're descending down a rabbit hole of weirdness.
pretty much, it's quite crazy. It's quite mad.
I must have seen it was something like 13 or 14, because there was this. That was around about the time that VHS was on its way out, so there were lots of sales of VHS, sort of like in these shops, for like $2.99 you could get a film, and so I picked this one up, Videodrome. I'm not sure why I picked it up. Maybe it was the cover, because the cover's quite cool.
The cover's weird as well.
Yeah, and that kind of led me down because I mean my favourite David Cronenberg film is a film called Rabid, which I might pick at some point, because that's a kind of a zombie film almost. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Rabid.
Nope.
Or Rabid.
I've not seen Rabid, I don't think, but I've seen Shivers.
I haven't seen Shivers.
Shivers is mental. I love it.
Okay.
It's absolutely crazy.
On a sliding scale from 0 to Videodrome.
It's weird.
Okay, it's weird.
It's weird. It's great though. I like Shivers.
Cool. All right. Well.
Oh, squeaky bed. That's a good place to end it, right? Squeaky bed.
Yes. Well, okay. We shall watch Videodrome by David Cronenberg, and we will meet back here next time to talk about it. Until then, Matt, you do YouTube videos.
Yeah, I do. It's good. It's good stuff. What's some stuff?
Have you finished The Evil Within 2 yet?
He sounds like he has cerebral palsy or something.
Jesus. No, I haven't finished it yet. I think I might be near the end. It started to, last time I live streamed it. It started to pick up a bit. It got more enjoyable. It also got very silly. So again, it just doesn't quite know what it wants to be. But yeah, I think I'm near the end. Maybe a couple more hours.
Okay.
4, 5, 200. 27. Won't be as long as Persona 5, which is literally took me 100 hours to beat.
That's too much. That's way too much.
It was so
like,
good.
I would rather spend another 100 hours playing Devil May Cry 3 over and over and over again than play one game that lasts 100 hours. Like, no joke. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I'm not even kidding about the 100 hours in Devil May Cry 3. I have a PlayStation 2 save file that has 99.99.99 on it. So, I've been there. But anyway, go on.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of Devil May Cry, are you any further towards your potential playthrough?
No, the playthrough is not stopped. It's just that I bought Bayonetta 2 last year around this time, and I had never played it. So I finished Mario Odyssey, and I put my Switch away immediately after finishing Mario Odyssey. Now, I didn't get all the Power Moons. I'm not like that. I beat the story. That's fine. I put it away, and I saw my Wii U, and I'm like, it's time. I pulled the Wii U out. I plugged it up. I put Bayonetta 2 in there, and I played the shit out of that, and I beat that too. So now I'm like, like action game, flexing over here, and it's ready to go. I'm ready to go back to DMC, so that'll happen. And then afterwards, I think I actually want to do Bayonetta 1 and 2, and do the same treatment to those two games. But if not that, I will add the commentary tracks to my non-commentary videos that I already have on my channel. Maybe just do that as a break kind of thing.
Do it
now, yeah, flex it. Feel the burn.
I'm here.
Give everybody some air.
See you at the party, Richter.
If Arnold Schwarzenegger's listening to this, I mean, it's not insulting. I love you, dude. You're so awesome. Thank you for listening. Also, if you're listening to this, I doubt you'll ever listen.
I love you.
Can I hug one of your muscles? No, not that one.
Oh man, and by the time this goes out, hopefully I will have started my quest to defeat my nemesis. Yeah, I feel confident.
You can do it.
It's gonna be good.
You can do it.
Okay.
It's going to be fantastic.
Until next time, we will see you here, and we will talk about that movie that we're going to talk about.
Yep, Videodrome.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Truth. Truth.
True.
This episode of Spoilers of the Damned was hosted by Axton10_61, Madicus Finch, and Garlips. To find out about us, as well as join the discussion on our Discord, check out all the links in the description below. Please feel free to leave a review or rate us on your podcast app of choice.